Hi, Susan.
Hi. Wait, I'll get my video up.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Bob.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
I love your picture, Susan.
Thank you. I've dropped out. I've gone off the grid.
Yeah, very Woodstock.
It's the new me.
Yeah, it's good.
Completely.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, and you?
Good.
Nice picture behind you.
Thank you. That's Vince's painting.
Who's Benson?
My husband.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Looks like we need a few more people before we can start.
Yep.
We're still.
Or maybe not. Quick look.
We got Bob Gormley. Is that right?
Yes, hello there.
Hey, Bob. And I got Tom Connor.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
Hi, Tom.
Oh,
Welcome back.
I don't see myself.
Yeah, you have to push where it says a video up on the top of your computer. It says stop video.
Yeah.
top right.
If you press it, you should be able to start the video. There you go. I see you.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
You're there. And so I got Shirley, Bob Gormley, Anthony Wong. I think we do have a quorum now. We're close. Do we have anybody that is applying? Let's see. Attendees. Here we go. Yes, there are some people here.
I'm going to promote one of the new board members, Eugene, to panelist as well. And we have William Benish as well. These are new board members.
Let me see if you can.
And Robin's going to be joining us in about 5 minutes. She just texted me, and she's on another call. And Valerie is also another board member who is joining us. I think we're ready to begin, Bob, if you want to just jump in and explain to the attendees how the meeting will work, et cetera. I think that Rosa has a question with respect to that.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to run it just like we would in a regular board meeting in down the church. But of course, it's going to be a little different, obviously, because we're using Zoom. What we're going to, we usually will go through each application and we'll discuss stipulations. And if you have any questions regarding stipulations, please bring that up before we're done tonight so that we can resolve things and we're not resolving things with stipulations the next day or the next night, okay? I'll try to call I'm going to call out of turn the application, so it's not going to be pursuant to the calendar that we have on the website. There also, when we have an application, we'll bring the attendee forward. We'll invite them to the meeting so that they can present their application and we can hear. If folks on the committee have questions, if you could hold off on your questions until we hear the presentation, and I'll try to raise your hand if you have a question, and I'll try to call on you. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Okay, so the first one I'd like to call is the Han Hospitality Cafe Iran. This is at 112 Greenwich Ave. Do we have, do you see, let's see.
Bob, you can have them raise their hand, use the raise the hand function.
Yeah, for the attendees, it's the same thing. Raise the hand if you're on that application. Let me just. Maybe they're not here yet. You think you see anyone raise their hand?
Not yet.
Okay,
Maybe
so
maybe you can move forward and recall them.
yeah, we'll try something else. Let's try VSM Gourmet Garage, 585 Hudson Street. I see Frank is here. If you raise your hand, and Max Bookman, we can have them join.
Hello.
Hi there.
Do we have Frank?
Max.
Yes.
Okay, so this is Max Bookman and Frank Sorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, Tom. Tom should also be promoted. Hope he's raised his
Okay.
hand.
Okay.
Tom S.
I don't see Tom. I don't see Tom with us.
Where do I raise my hand?
No, different Tom.
Different Tom. Sorry, applicant Tom.
And if members of the committee, if you could just there's a button that says mute right up on the top right hand corner. You should mute yourself so that there's no background noise. You're listening in, but when you want to ask a question, all you do is raise your hand. There's a little box where you can raise your hand, and that way we know to call on you and you have a question. Okay.
Have we figured out where it's Tom Santacor? Is his name there?
Let's just see.
I don't see him now.
All right.
I think that Tom is just calling in by phone. He was not able
Know the
to.
last three numbers of his phone number?
Yeah, I could tell you in a second.
368.
Yeah, 5368.
Okay.
I think that's it. Car, do you see it?
Yep. Tom, are you with us?
That's
on the
great. I'm
phone?
here, guys.
Okay, great.
Okay,
I
great.
am. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, so Max,
Thank you.
why don't you tell us what's going on with this application and introduce everybody, all right?
Very well. Good evening again, CB2. Nice to see everyone again remotely. And to Eugene and William, welcome. I'm a regular liquor practitioner before this board, and we'll be seeing each other quite a bit if you stick around on this committee. My name is Max Bookman. I'm an attorney, and I'm proud to be representing Gourmet Garage tonight. With me is Frank and Tom, who've dialed in, and they're officers with the company. And so let me walk you through the application. The business name
Max,
is...
I'm going to pause you for just 1 second. For anybody who's here for this, you can find a copy of the community board questionnaire on our calendar page on the community board website. So if you're joining us and you want to see the materials that we're discussing, it would be under the entry on the community board 2 website, cb2manhattan.org, on the calendar, and there's a link to the questionnaire. And so that's where you would find the information. And this is VSM Gourmet. It's the last item. Sorry. Go ahead, Max.
No, that's okay, Carter. It's good that you guys have started putting those up on the website like other boards do.
And does everybody on the committee know DSM Gourmet? This is the Gourmet Garage application, just to make sure. Okay, go ahead, Max.
All right. So Gourmet Garage, but the company behind it is called Village Supermarkets. Village Supermarkets is a company that's over 80 years old, started back in the 30s, and they own supermarkets. In our region, they own 30 ShopRites across New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, including some in our area. 3 Gourmet Garages in Manhattan, including the Gourmet Garage in Tribeca. And they just bought, you may have seen this in the news, but they just bought 4 of the Fairways in New York City, including the one on the Upper East Side that I shop at. So they are experienced supermarket operators that have been in business for many, many years. And they're coming to this location, which is on the corner of Hudson and Bank. It's where Mrs. Green's used to be. But there's a history of supermarket type usage there. Before Mrs. Green's was Dwayne Reed. And then that's the end of my memory, but before that, I understand just from records that there were earlier supermarket or maybe closer to regular grocery market type concepts there. So it's a 2-level premises, and we're getting a license for both levels. The lower level is going to be your standard supermarket. Going to have all your grocery items, dairy, produce, home goods, everything that you would expect to find at a supermarket. And on the upper level, which is the ground floor, the lower level is down in the basement. The upper level, which is the ground floor, is going to be a concept that you're seeing with increasing frequency in the city and in the region. And that is they're going to have a number of stations offering a variety of food, either to go or to eat on premises, from hot and cold bars to Asian, sandwich, grill, sushi. We have a meat and fish bar. And those are things that all gourmet, in keeping with their Gourmet Garage concept. And those are things that customers could either purchase with the rest of their groceries and take home with them, or there's going to be a small eating and drinking area on the premises. 5 tables, 30 seats, pretty tame hours, closing at 11 p.m., 7 days a week. And this is something that you're seeing more and more of. My firm has represented, as many of the people who have been on the board for a few years know, Dean and DeLuca. Before everything that happened with Dean and DeLuca, you approved a similar on-premises concept for them in your community district. You see this with Morton Williams, few other, those are the ones that we've represented, but you see this with other supermarkets as well, which is just the way of the times now. When you're opening up a supermarket, there has to be, in order for it to work, there has to be an on-premises component to it. And that's what they're doing here. It's a concept that they have previously done. This will be the first in New York, but across the river in Morristown, in Jersey, they've done this on-premises concept there as well, and it's worked out well. And so those are the basics. We're happy to answer questions as always.
Okay, so I guess it's pretty hard to tell from the diagram where the eating and drinking is going to be located in the on the first floor. Can you tell us where it's going to be located?
Yeah, sure. So let me pull up the diagram. Just give me 1 second. Well, while I'm pulling it up. So
You're talking about the floor plans, right?
yeah, the floor plans. Yeah, I was actually, I was using what was on your website, but I guess that part of it wasn't uploaded.
Yeah, I have the street level in front of me, and I can't tell from that where do you plan to have these 30, the 5 tables and 30 seats.
Yeah. Sorry, give me 1 more minute. I'll pull it up. Maybe while I'm doing that, if Frank or Tom could give a verbal description of where the eating and drinking area is, and then I could direct Bob on the diagram when I have it.
Sure thing. If you look at the first level from the street, there's 2 entrances. There's a left entrance and the right entrance. The right entrance, as soon as you walk in, is where there is a very small bar. I think it's roughly 11 or 13 feet in length. And that's where the bar would be. And directly in between the doors
Can you
where all
just
the windows
tell us
are,
what the-
that,
Oh, I'm sorry to break in here, but that where you're talking about is street level, right? What street are you talking
correct.
about? Because there's no entrance right there. What street are you talking about?
I don't have the
That's
diagram in front
Hudson
of me, I
Street.
apologize.
It's Hudson Street, Tom. Hudson Street.
Well, you said there's two entrances. Why don't you tell us where the two entrances are?
They're both on Hudson Street, and on the, if you have the blueprint, I'm not sure what you guys are looking at, but if you do have the blueprint,
Yeah.
there's
I
two
got the
doorways
blueprint.
that enter on Hudson.
Yeah, so if you're looking, Bob, at the bottom of
Okay.
the blueprint, there's the two entrances, and those are Hudson Street.
All right, now I got it. Okay, so tell me again where the eating and drinking is going to be.
Go ahead, Tom, pick that up.
Sure, so the right entrance, as soon as you walk in, the first counter you see, it's roughly between 11 and 13 feet. That is where the bar is. That's one piece. The other component is between the doors, up against the windows on Hudson Street. Those are where the tables and chairs are, and that would be the other area.
Okay, they look to me like there's single seats pointing out through windows. Is that correct?
It's probably just a rendering of seats, but that's where the roughly 30 seats will be, right between those two windows. I mean, between the two entrances.
Right, but they're individual seats. You're not seated across from somebody. You're looking out a window. It's like a bench.
No, actually, there's 5 tables shown on there. 5 tables with 4 seats per table. So I'm not sure that's accurate.
Yeah, it's between the doors.
It looks like there's 4 booths between the doors and with 4 seats each. And then like 21 seats at counters or thereabouts.
It looks like a counter. I see what you're saying, Donna. So, but is that correct? All these seats that are run along the window are counter seats, single seats that you look out through a window. Am I not correct?
Guys?
Yeah, not correct.
Okay.
So
They're going to be tables.
Yeah, if I could try this, if you're looking at the floor plan, and if you come in the entrance to the left or the south, if you come in there and you make a right, there are 5 tables there before you get to the next entrance and exit.
are we not looking at the most current plans? Because what I see, if you go on the south doorway, has a counter with 3 seats, a garbage, and then 4 tables, and then 4 more seats at a counter, and then the northern entrance, and then another bar to the right of that.
Yeah, so the diagrams that we have, guys, is between the 2 doors, there's what Bob has described, which is it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, depending how you count it, seats where people are looking at each other across from a table, and then there's a number of what looks like stools that's facing outwards along a counter.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I see stools that look like they're looking out various windows, and then in between the 2 doors looks like maybe booths or sets of tables.
Yeah.
And then what's right across?
Thank you.
What's right across from the sets of tables?
You shared your screen now.
In the middle between the 2 doors.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's helpful, but that's
The wrong floor.
the wrong floor. There you go. And you're going to have to blow that up. You're going to have to make it more visible. Yeah, zoom in. Thank you. You're probably going to have to go a little bit more if you could, Max.
Oh, that's not me. That's not me doing it.
All right. Well, that's
I'm doing that. Can you
Okay,
see
great.
that
That's
there?
perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so what is if there's the 2 doors and the entrance on Hudson Street, and then there's booths, or there's in the middle between the 2 doors, you can't really tell, but those are your tables, right? What's on the other side of those tables? What's in the middle?
That, it says, on the plans, it says it's a bagger shelf and checkout.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to need Tom and Frank to speak to this.
You know what? I don't think I have the right plans up. I'm trying to pull them up now.
Yeah, I can speak to that piece. Across from where these tables are, that is the checkouts, the registers. I think it's roughly 6 or 7 of those.
Okay, all right. That now makes sense. Is there going to be a kitchen somewhere?
Yeah, the kitchen, if you look at that same level and go all the way to the back right portion of the blueprint, that's where the open kitchen is.
Okay. And are there going to be actual people serving the liquor or the alcohol at these tables?
There will be a server at the bar, and people could come up, order a drink, bring it to their table, or what we've used in Morristown is it's an iPad where you have to get validated with a license and a credit card reader. We haven't finalized that aspect of it yet, but we've done it in 2 other stores, and that's worked very well for us.
That sounds like beer and wine, though. You're asking for an on-premise here. You guys are going to be serving alcoholic spirits and drinks.
Yeah, that's what they do, and
That's
that's what he's referring to in Morristown. They've done it with spirits as well.
Right, but how you're going to go to some bar and order a gin and tonic and then take that over to your table?
Yeah, in the supermarket world, it's actually it's been a very good experience for the customers. It complements their meal. It's today's Cinco de Mayo. If you wanted to get a margarita as you're getting some tacos and enchiladas, it adds to the experience. And it really doesn't become a hangout per se. It's more of a experience to add to the food. Yeah, it's worked very well in 2 stores.
Okay, I guess at least in terms of a restaurant, you have a waiter or a waitress come to your table and you order your drinks. That's not going to happen here?
Well, this is
nope.
You know, it's restaurant because it's a restaurant level of food. But you know, as you're hearing, this is a fairly new concept that doesn't necessarily fit into the traditional category of restaurant.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
We don't.
If you think about if I can explain it further, if you think about you know, any of the airports, Newark, JFK, and they have those kiosks in the center where you sit down, you might have an iPad, you might order food off of that iPad, you could order liquor off of that iPad. Somebody brings you the food or the liquor. It's an ordering mechanism.
Okay. Well, what's your drink?
So it's a little bit different than having a paper menu per se, if that makes sense.
Well, what's your drink menu then?
But before that, but Tom, just to be clear, to answer Bob's question there. So if people are ordering on the iPad, is someone bringing the drink to them, or are they getting it at the bar?
No, they'd be bringing the drink to them, and that's kind of how we work it now in Morristown or in Stroudsburg. You could go to the bar, order your drink, pay for it, sit at a table with whatever to-go food you already grabbed and paid for. Or the secondary option is these iPads that are available to also order your food and or drink.
Okay, so people are bringing the drinks to the customer in either of those scenarios?
No, in the ordering from the iPad scenario. In the other scenario, if you just walk up to, say, the sandwich shop and order a sandwich and pay for that, you would go to the bar, order whatever drink you like, pay for that, and then grab a seat at the table.
Okay.
Right, because in our area, we don't have this. We don't have an on-premise. You mentioned Dean and DeLuca, Max, but Dean and DeLuca never had an on-premise. They never went forward with the on-premise, and then they closed. So we don't have this in our area. We have beer and wine at some of these locations, but this is the first time that I know of where we got an on-premise in a supermarket. And you're telling me that there are other on-premise liquor licenses in supermarkets in Manhattan?
I think you're right, Bob, that all the ones that I could think of are beer and wine, but the one that the concept that they have here, which they've done in New Jersey, which has worked, is full liquor, and that's what they'd like to do here.
Yeah, and we've also done it in Stroud, Pennsylvania, where we opened a new store, and it really is becoming pretty common in the supermarket business. Wegmans, for example, has full bars in many of their stores. And part of what we're finding is, it's just so the retail apocalypse is going on now. And as you all noted, Dean and DeLuca doesn't exist anymore. There's tons of other retailers that don't exist anymore. And we found it's really important to create an experience and to get people wedded to this particular store. As Max noted, there have been Mrs. Green's and several other supermarkets in this location beforehand. And we think this is something that's really important to create an experience that's going to get people coming back. It's in, the West Village. It's not like people are going to come here and drink. No one is going to say, I'm going to go to Gourmet Garage. We're not looking to bring people in. We're really just looking to provide an amenity to the customers that are shopping there. So, that's something that's really important. I wanted to emphasize. We're not looking to draw in customers with this. And in Morristown and in Stroud, it isn't the case. We don't have people coming in and hanging out at the bar. It's just shoppers. In some cases, it's, a couple where one part of the couple does the shopping and the other person has a glass of wine. And that's really all we're trying to do here. It's just creating this experience for the customers that hopefully will help us survive and, not fall the fate of Dean and DeLucas.
Okay. And do you have some sort of drink menu?
Tom, do you know what we have in Stroud and Morristown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be very similar to that. Some of the selections might change, or the recipes might change, but very similar to both of those. It won't be too much different, other than maybe small recipe changes to the demographics in West Village.
And what would that be?
I guess we don't see a drink menu, so that would be one question. Do you have an idea of what the drink menu is going to be?
Yeah, I could give you a very, very broad overview. Typically, we carry a handful of craft beers on tap, anywhere from 6 to 12. We have a small selection of bottled beer. We have a decent-sized selection of wine. And when I say decent, for our business, it's decent. It's, max, 12 to 18 different varieties of wine. We have roughly a ever-changing seasonal, roughly 10 to 12 cocktail craft drink mix, and then obviously bottles of liquor if somebody wants, a scotch and soda as an example, or a Tanqueray and tonic, or any of those common drinks.
So well drinks.
Correct.
And will there be a bartender?
Yes, there will.
Okay.
Trained bartender and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just so we're clear, so there's two forms of how you order a drink. One is you order it directly from the bartender, right? And the other way
Correct.
is through some sort of electronic system within the restaurant portion of the supermarket, and then once that's ordered, you then get it delivered to your table by some sort of bartender, or do you go up to the bartender and you pick up your drink and bring it back?
No, we deliver it to you with one of the servers behind the bar.
Okay. And how many people are you going to have working in the restaurant portion of the supermarket?
So roughly upstairs, which is the restaurant portion, there could probably, it would be 2 bartenders max at any time. There would never be a need for more than that, just given the size and the seating we have. So it'd be max 2 there. And roughly throughout, probably at any one time, not more than 15.
Not more than 15 what?
You don't mean 15 for the restaurant area?
He's talking about
I'm talking
about the
the
upstairs.
Okay, but.
Correct.
Okay, I guess we were talking more the immediate seating area, because the restaurant area is more like a go up to different counters and you can serve yourself or order a sandwich or a sushi roll.
Well, he could talk about both. I
Correct.
think it's good to, let's be clear,
Okay.
'cause I took
Yep.
Bob's question to mean the upstairs, but he can talk about both.
Sure thing. Yeah, it would be max 2 at any one time in the bar area, which services those tables in the bar, and roughly 15 people max at any one given time in the entire upstairs.
15
Right,
employees, right?
But
That's
there not,
correct.
I want to know how many designated people will be working the restaurant portion of that's what I'm looking for. So you said 2 bartenders.
So
Who else will be actually involved with the tables and making sure people get their drinks, if anyone else?
no one else, just those 2. But when you say restaurant, I think that's where I'm sorry, I'm having a little disconnect. When I think here restaurant, I'm thinking of all the food stations. That's why I answered it with the 15. But the bar specifically in the tables, it would be 2 people.
Right. So you're saying there would be some sort of station over, a deli counter or somewhere where you would order something?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's all an
Correct.
interconnected operation. There's a
Yeah,
number.
I think
Yeah.
what we're concerned with here is the delivery of alcohol and how that's taking place. And so the delivery of alcohol has got to come from the bar, and it can be ordered at different locations within. What other locations can you order the drinks if not the bar itself?
Where you sitting?
The only other location is at the actual tables.
And each table will have a kiosk?
Each table would have an iPad kiosk, yes.
Okay. I don't see any hands raised. Donna, go ahead.
Okay, so, and then when people are done eating, I assume that the counters would also just have iPad station there at each seat, or that they can be shared between seats. Then,
Yes, that's correct.
okay, and then do people clear their own stations when they're done? How does that part work?
So all the food is not served on plates. It's all takeout because they're going up to each station. So they typically would empty all their, call it paper plates or whatever they might have, plastic paper, whatever they might have brought their food on.
Mm-hmm.
They would throw that away. But we have one of those bar servers who's also tending to every table, clearing off glasses, cleaning up any crumbs, wiping down the table. And if they did leave their, call it garbage behind, they would empty that as well.
Okay, and then could we just get further clarification on the seating, because the diagram says 37 people and the application said either 30 or 23, depending. The SLA application had one number and I counted out closer to 41. So I'm just trying to figure out closer which one it is.
Yeah, I mean, we can let Tom speak to that. There were a few different numbers that, they were exploring. So go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Frank, I'm sorry. Do you have that in front of you? Because I don't want to misquote it, and I do not have it in front of me.
And I,
Right
you
now.
know, I'm in a seat or two.
I'm not sure my fingers got them all, but I'm counting 37. And
Right.
and I guess maybe my math is, if you come in on the left-hand side, the door on the left-hand side, there's 4 seats to the left and 3 to the right.
So I see 5 to the left, running around the corner to Bank Street, correct?
Oh yeah, I apologize. It is 5. Yeah, my fingers aren't doing well tonight. And then 3, and then 4, 4, 4, and then 4 stools or seats, and then it looks like 9 seats to the right. And again, my fingers may be off, but I did count
It's about
37.
38, like you said, 37, 38, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, I don't, anybody have any questions? I don't see any hands raised.
Yeah.
Mar, you have a question?
Bob, there's
My
5
hand's
different
raised.
hands raised.
I don't see it it's not on my screen, so.
You need to move over to the panelists selection.
Participants.
Participants.
Panelists.
Yeah, the panelists under the participants, Bob.
All right, I'm sorry, guys. That's my fault. All right, so Mar, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, guys. So
I'm concerned about, we have a farmer's market on Saturdays right there at Abingdon Square. And a lot of people like to linger in that area, or used to like to linger in that area. And I feel like you guys might get some good brunch traffic, which I think is that these are people who would definitely enjoy cocktails with their brunch, and they would linger. What are you going to do about that kind of traffic to get people moving, to not create traffic right there at Abingdon Square during the farmers market, A? And my second question was, how do you prevent people from walking around the store with cocktails? Since anybody can order, right?
I think Tom could.
Yeah,
Tom,
so
can
we
you
have
answer both of those? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The question number 2, as far as the lingering, so all our bartenders are what's called in the bar business, they're tip certified. Tips is not the tips in which they receive, but it's an acronym.
These folks know what
for
tips
being,
is, I think.
Perfect. Sorry, I forgot who I was talking to. A lot of times I have to explain that. Anyhow,
No,
so they're certified trained bartenders.
Say it anyway.
Oh, go ahead and explain it, okay? That would be good.
Yeah, so all our bartenders are tip certified. They're also trained by our in-house documentation with our security personnel, and their main goal is 2 things. In the bar we operate in Stroudsburg and the bar we operate in Morristown, there's a designated area very similar to this, right, with the seats that are across the window, and there's an exit door, and people could, no different than lingering around the store here or lingering outside. We have the same potential problems in both of those stores. These 2 folks who manage the area, who are behind the bar and manage the tables, that's their main goal. They don't have a large bar. They don't have a lot of people they're trying to keep track of, but they do make sure that nobody is leaving the area, walking around the store, definitely not leaving the exit doors, either door. And we haven't had any problems in the other 2 stores, and it's been several years in Morristown and just over a year in Stroudsburg. And I forgot the first question that you asked, if you don't mind repeating that one.
I was worried about traffic on the weekends, but particularly Saturdays when there's very heavy traffic there at Abingdon Square for the farmers market. Also, what if, in the event that grab and go maintains longer, then people would be able to, you guys would be able to sell alcohol to people who are walking out of the store. How do you manage them not, spilling into the neighborhood in droves?
I mean, before Tom gets to that, and I'm sure he'll have something to say, let me just preface the answer, I think, which might be helpful in 2 ways. One is, although their hours of operation, you mentioned brunch, their hours of operation obviously would encompass brunch time. They have no plans to promote a sort of brunch that you see, restaurants, more traditional restaurants doing. There's no sort of, come in for a boozy brunch or a bottomless brunch or anything like that. So I do think, while I take your point about the number of people who are going to be in the area, I think to the extent that we do draw people in, it will be shoppers who maybe picked up, a few vegetables at the farmer's market, but also want to, buy their 2% milk or whatever at the Gourmet Garage, and then they may sit down there and eat or drink something as well. I think it's a somewhat of a different vibe than the crowd of people who would be going out to seek a brunch in that sense. And then this is the other just preface I wanted to make before Tom adds anything else, if he'd like to, is, if I think if you're referring to the current, COVID rules that allow to go, these folks are still far off from opening, and we really hope that by the time we're ready to open, this crisis will be long over. And and if this crisis is over, then I certainly anticipate those rules will be rolled back at that point in time.
Okay, thank you. So Katie, do you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, good. Okay, great. I actually, hi, Max.
Hello.
I actually, I do have 2 questions, but I want to build on what Mara is saying, because there are 2 very popular brunch spots within a block where people are waiting on Hudson Street for tables for an hour. on a Saturday or a Sunday. And you should be so lucky, Tom and Frank, that they would want to come to you instead of standing outside. So I think Mars point is well taken, and those people are tempted to have drinks on the sidewalk while they're waiting at these places. And so I think you really have to have a better answer to Mars concerns. And related to that, and you mentioned, Max, you don't want a boozy brunch. Is there any plan for bottle service, pitchers of beer, buckets of beer? No? Okay. I mean, that's something that we're very concerned about in
Can you see my face?
the neighborhood.
You were calling and I was shaking my head no. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you. You can't see me. Sorry. And can you please review? How minors are going to not slip through the crack with this grab and go and iPad and more casual service of liquor than we sometimes see?
Sure. I think Tom could easily speak to that, but if I could just preface it by saying my understanding of this iPad system is that one of the virtues of it is that you can't fool it. You may, if you go to a restaurant, you may be able to fool a waiter with a fake ID or something like that, but you can't fool an iPad because they require, in order for you to make the alcohol purchase, for you to show an ID. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, it's a scannable ID. It's extremely secure. It's the most secure system of proofing, to your point, where a handheld ID, unfortunately, that happens way too often. Yeah, it's very secure.
So you have to scan it into the iPad itself?
You do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in addition to that, you can only order one drink per credit card when you insert it. So we actually have the server who comes over and delivers it. So there's some validation on the back end as well. It might be probably the most secure thing we do have in that sense, if that makes sense to him.
So my husband can't order a drink for himself and one for me at the same time?
Yeah, you got to actually hit it twice when it comes to liquor. That's how we set it up in both Morristown and Stroudsburg.
Thank you.
And is that, Tom, could you just explain why you set it up that way?
For this simple solution of, let's say, I walk in and I have, a 19-year-old with me. I order 2 drinks. I give it to him. I'm avoiding that since it's not done, where I have 2 folks sitting at a bar in front of me and I order it. As a bartender, I could ask for both IDs. In this case, somebody's making it, coming over and handing it to them, and then checking IDs after the drink was made. So if I made an $18 craft cocktail for 2 people and one's 19 and now I'm asking for an ID, what am I doing with that drink? I'm wasting it. So it's a little inconvenient, but I think the point was pretty well taken before that, where it's really set up to be a service and offering yet another way to get people in, but it's clearly not. If you had 3 options for a boozy brunch, we're not going to be the option of first choice. It's really about building the check and creating another offering while you're getting your food, and not necessarily going out of your way per se to go to drink at our place. We're going to sell liquor. We want to sell liquor, but we're not designating or setting it up as a bar, a nightclub in it by itself. It's really just an accompaniment to what we do with the food.
Okay, so just in follow-up to that question, what are you going to serve the drinks in? Are you going to, in glass? What type of serving devices are you using for the alcoholic, the spirits?
It's all glass and none of it's plastic. We serve regular, whether it's a rocks glass, a wine glass, a beer glass, but all glass.
Okay, so you'll be able to distinguish your drinks from somebody else who has some sort of drink they brought in, right? People could bring things in with them.
Yeah, we don't allow that, and yes, we would be able to distinguish that, absolutely.
Okay, next up is Dr. Shirley Smith. Go ahead.
Thank you. I have a question. You mentioned that you have this model in Morristown as well as Stroudsburg. What in Morristown, what is the percentage of revenue generated from alcohol as opposed to food?
Well, Doctor, that's a great question. Oh, Tom, you know what? Let me just add something first. That's a really great question and something I wanted to add. Village is a public company first, so we take this seriously. We have an obligation to our shareholders, and we really take this seriously and don't want the embarrassment of operating in any way except the right way on all of this. Our sales last year were $1,600,000,000. We're a supermarket company and we're a gourmet food store. And that's what we're operating here. And really our liquor sales were just a tiny rounding error, compared to our supermarket sales. And this really is, a supermarket, and we're really, Doctor, just trying to provide an amenity to our customers. And we would be pleasantly surprised if sort of people bypass the many great restaurants in Manhattan to come have brunch with us. We're really not expecting it, and it's not a part of this business model.
Dr. Smith, I think just to add to that, I think what's less difficult, what's a little more difficult to discover in that data. I mean, it's easy to see, what their percentage of liquor sales is, and you've heard it's pretty small. But what's more difficult to find in that data is the ability to have a drink and have that on-premises consumption amenity. How many food sales? How many gallons of milk? How many cartons of eggs purchased did that drive? Part of what they're trying to compete for here is to get you to not be ordering your food on Fresh Direct or Amazon, which is the trend now to order groceries online. I mean, even before the virus, obviously, currently. And so part of what this is yes, there's the question of what the liquor sales are, but I think that the bigger picture here is how do they create an experience that gets people out of the house and to the grocery store to buy the food.
All right, I think we got that. So, but I didn't hear an actual.
Bob, I didn't finish. I hadn't.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I didn't hear an answer to the question. I didn't hear an actual specific percentage.
Neither did I.
Yeah, Frank, if you have if you have a number, Frank, give it. If you don't, I mean, you can just give your best guess.
Yes.
Don't give them wrong
Yeah.
information.
No, listen, I have the actual number. So the percent to the total store is exactly 1/2 of 1%. But the point that I don't want to miss is well explained by both Max and Frank. It's what that 1/2 of 1% leads to, and how it gets customer traffic in the store and keeps them loyal to us because we're a little more unique and different. And that is really the big win about keeping them in the store and not everywhere else.
Okay. Also, you mentioned that Morristown is a newer venue than Strasburg. What would that percentage be?
No.
In how many years have you done this model in Strasburg?
So, no, Morristown is the one that's been around the longest, and that's the
And
number I gave you for
how long is
Morristown.
Morristown? How long is Morristown?
Geez, I think it's been about 4 or 5 years. Frank, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think that's right, Tom. 4 or 5 years in Morristown, and what about a year in Stroud?
Okay, and so
Yeah,
that
just about a year. Yep.
That less than 1% of sales from alcohol in Morristown, is that true for Strasburg as well?
Yeah, Stroudsburg is a little bit less. Well, you know what? It's not, because the total store sales are a little bit less. It is, and I'm pulling it up right now. It's roughly the same. It's just a hair over 1/2 of 1%.
Okay, and my last question, thank you so much, is that what you consider wine?
I'm sorry?
I heard that. Go ahead, say it again.
Would you consider beer and wine? And not a full liquor?
So let me.
No,
yeah.
we.
All right, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, please go right ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so the concept works with liquor. That's how they've done it. That's how they developed it in their other locations. They've not developed the concept as beer and wine only. Obviously, that's something when they first came to us. Well, that's obviously when they first came to us, we discussed, but the economics of it, the concept as it's worked in their other locations has been full liquor, and so they don't want to change that here.
Thank you.
And were you guys the owners of the Gourmet Garage over on 7th Avenue that closed?
No, that was the previous owner.
Okay, great. All right, so Susan Wittenberg?
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. I wanted to follow 2 quick things. I wanted to follow up on what Shirley was saying. I mean, Max, as you know, a full OP license is a tough one, previously unlicensed location, and it's hard to convince us just because it was a model in 2 locations in New Jersey, this is the model. So I find that a bit hard to accept as just sort of casually presented as that. And I wanted to correct one thing you said earlier about Dean and DeLuca. I mean, Dean and DeLuca failed because they were a Thai real estate hedge fund that ran the company into the ground. We know the story very well. I really find it a stretch to believe, the comment that it had anything whatsoever to do with they didn't have a liquor license.
No. If you took it that way, that was not the intention. That was not the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was that this is not in front of this community board. It's not the first time I know that was beer and wine only, but this is not the first time you're hearing the concept of a grocery store that has an on-premises component to it. That's all I meant by that. I did not mean to suggest it went out of business.
So I still remain, as Shirley presented, unconvinced that why we should accept the full OP instead of beer and wine, especially for something where it seems as sort of casual as this concept.
Okay. Susan Kent, go ahead.
Yes. I do want to echo what Susan Wittenberg and Shirley said. You talk about this as a concept, but then you're saying it's an amenity, and if it's really about an experience, why is having a full liquor license so critical? And if you didn't have a full liquor license, in your opinion, would that cause your model to fail?
Well, I'm hearing what all of you are saying. I don't really have a more, sexy answer other than it just gets more people into the store. And that's what this is all about. You just heard, what the cold numbers. So obviously the sale of alcohol itself is not what's driving them to do this. They wouldn't go through all of this for 0.5% of all of their revenue. So it's not the actual sale of alcohol. It's what it is. The availability of alcohol is what gets people into the store to distinguish them from either shopping online or going to another grocery store. And so they want to offer as much as possible. And so there are some people who don't drink beer or wine, and they'd rather have the option of having a cocktail. And so it just broadens the horizons broadens the universe of the number of people who they can appeal to with this concept.
Okay. And my second question was, now, if all of the eating and drinking is supposed to occur only on the main level, but you're asking for a license for both levels.
Yeah.
Why?
So great question. So from an alcoholic beverage control law perspective, there's no way for us to separate this into 2 licenses. The way that the liquor law works, it doesn't allow us to have a grocery store only license in the basement, because the only way to get there is walking through the top floor. So it's all licensed as one licensed premises. Every on-premises liquor license has the ability to sell beer to go. Most people don't realize that, and most people don't do that. But I think the people on this committee know that. So having that license will still allow people to go downstairs to the beer case and buy a 6-pack that they could take home with them. But we just have to do it that way, unfortunately. But as I think you heard, and if we'd be happy to stipulate to this, the alcohol consumption will not take place beyond the little area, seating area that we've described.
Okay, so the alcohol would be served and consumed in a designated area. And the question then becomes is, what is that designated area? I got that. We can figure that out. I think Carter and Donna have questions. Go ahead, Carter.
I just wanted to ask, how many, do most of your clients in Morristown and Stroudsburg drive to your stores, or do they walk?
Most drive.
And how many restaurants are within 500 feet of both of those spaces?
None in Morristown and 1 in Stroud.
And most of the surrounding businesses here you'd be directly competing with if you're serving alcohol. These are our existing businesses in our community, and they're primarily restaurants, they're primarily food service businesses, and you're using one of their main attractants to supplement your supermarket, when these are our businesses right now, and in the coming years, they're going to need to be what they are, which are restaurants and bars, and you guys are going to be competing with them directly.
We don't think we're competing with them.
Let me answer. Yeah, I couldn't disagree more.
Max, can I hear from the applicant, please? Because this is really important right now in this time.
Before you hear
the
from the
majority of
applicant,
our businesses, Max, as you know, are restaurants and bars in this community, and you're already peeling away their competitive advantage here to have as a supplement that represents 0.5% of your business.
Carter, before you hear from them, you're going to hear from me. And the reason I disagree with you is people who go out and are going to bars and restaurants are not coming to a supermarket to eat and drink. As what we've tried to present here is that the people who we're competing with are Amazon, Fresh Direct, and other online grocers who are really cutting into the supermarket business these days because they offer a service that allows people to purchase their groceries without leaving the home. So that's who we're competing with. I couldn't disagree more with the comment that people who would otherwise be going to one of the many excellent bars and restaurants in your community are now going to be going to a supermarket to eat and drink.
So, but Max, all the people who come to this location walk. And one of the things is that it's a destination. That's what people come to our community do. They go out on errands, they walk around, they go to different stores. This is different than Stroudsburg. This is different than Morristown. And you're talking directly about the businesses that we're concerned about going forward, having enough business from our community. And you're taking away one small thing that actually can make a difference for them and saying it's your competitive advantage to Amazon. And I'm not sure right now if that's, in our community, which you've represented a lot of them, is predominantly not retail anymore. It's predominantly eating and drinking. That's the bread and butter for those businesses.
Well, I think
and this is a 500-foot case, and you've got to establish a public interest, and our public interest is keeping our businesses in business.
Well, I would respond to that part of the public, there's two responses. One, part of the public interest is more grocery stores, and this is the model these days. And number two, part of the public interest is not having a storefront that's been vacant for a number of years remain vacant. We'll have to agree to disagree about who we're competing with, but to me, it's quite obvious that the people we're competing with are not the bars and the restaurants, even though what we're asking for is an on-premises license. This is a way to get people who would otherwise be shopping online or maybe shopping at other grocery stores to distinguish us from them and to get them to come to our store.
And what other grocery stores in Manhattan had full liquor licenses? I forget.
It's maybe the first.
Okay, so why is this the new model? Why do we have to,
Well, the new model certainly is on-premises consumption of food and beverage of some sort. And from the list that I gave earlier, that is the new model. And for the liquor component, you've heard what we had to say, and just to repeat it, they want to be able to appeal to the broadest spectrum of potential customers possible.
Yeah, and we really don't want someone to show up here and to have even a mimosa, at brunch or something like that. That isn't what we want. We want people to come here and shop and buy their food here. We're not competing with restaurants. We're not looking to compete with restaurants and bars. We want people to buy their food here. That's our business.
But guys, you guys have food kiosks. Somebody walks in there, they sit down, they order some food from your food kiosk, and they get a beer. That's taking away from our local businesses. I'm not sure I understand.
I mean, Carter, you could say that with every single new application. It doesn't have to be. The comment you just made could be true.
They're
for
not
any
supermarkets.
No, but I don't see the difference. The comment you just made could be true for any restaurant.
Hey guys,
you could say
hold
that.
on. Time out. We're going back and forth. I think the arguments are well said. Okay, I think we need to move on to the next subject. Okay, but I think the points are very well made on both sides, and I really want to go back to questions. So Donna, go ahead.
Okay, so one, you're going to hate me for this, but I just want to reiterate everything that was just said because, I'll speak for myself personally that lives near there, very enthusiastic to have a supermarket there. And I don't think that a liquor license is what's going to be driving me in there, whether you have that or not. I am desperate to have a decent supermarket. And I just want to point out that being in this area of Manhattan where there aren't a lot of choices for a supermarket, in my opinion, that's what you have going for you. It's not like you're out in Morristown or something where there aren't gazillion other restaurants around, which provides a different experience for people in those locations. And I can see why that model would work well there. The city's a little different. So that's the one thing I wanted to say. I just wanted to ask one question. I think it was Mar that was asking how you're going to make sure people do not leave with the drinks, and you answered that. But if you only have 2 bartenders, when I'm looking at the layout, the bar is way over on the northern side door, and then you've got, you know, the tables and the benches, and you've got your whole checkout area, which will likely be very busy because you are one of the only supermarkets in the neighborhood. And then you've got more seating and a door by that. I'm a little concerned about how you'll see what's going on, even if it means just that glasses are left on those counters and everything on the far left side and not taken up if you don't have a server walking around on a regular basis.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Tom, let me just say, I'm not sure where the screw up happened, but I mean, from what I've heard from Tom tonight, and Tom will correct me if I'm wrong, it seems that there's a piece of this plan that you have that's wrong, which is that far, you know, that far portion over there that you just referred to, Donna, that it certainly looks to me like it has, you know, some seats there. I'm not, from what I heard from Tom just now, I'm not exactly sure that that's actually going to come to fruition in terms of construction. Is that right, Tom?
No, so basically, if I could, I think I just want to be clear on the one point you just said about 2 bartenders. There's 2 people working the bar. One is a actual bartender pouring the drinks. The other one's the server, tends to the tables, takes care of that whole entire area, delivers the drinks, brings the drinks back.
Okay.
It may be the smallest area that I've seen where 2 people plus a floor manager who's independent of the bar, but he runs the whole entire store on the first floor, is also doing nothing but dealing with customers. I really think it's almost, I'm not going to say too much, but way more than enough to manage that small area. And that area for seating all the way to the left, that is in fact the seating area. The part to the right, as you look at the right door, that's a counter. That's not a bar. That's not seating. That is a counter for where they fix their coffee, get their fixings, and other types of stuff.
So
I'm very confident in that small area that would be managed appropriately by those couple people.
Okay, so then just to clarify, the seating, that area that's to the farthest north area with that long counter, that's not really seating, that's more just to make your coffees and things? Because it looks like it's seats there right now.
I think if you blow it up, the seating area is all the way to the left, the seating area is in the middle, and to the right, if I'm not mistaken, Frank, and again, I'll say I don't have it in front of me, I think that's the coffee prep area, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not, and it actually is seating, I'm still comfortable with it because it's such a small space for these 2 people with the floor manager.
Okay.
The only other thing I would just chime in before you move to the next question, Bob, and that's I think in fairness, I just want to be able to respond, Donna, to the comment you made. We're glad to hear that you're going to patronize this store with or without liquor. You know, this is not just something out in Pennsylvania and in Jersey that's worked. You know, I also earlier mentioned it's not in your district, but we've represented Morton Williams, who up in Hell's Kitchen area has done a beer and wine license on premises. And so, you know, this is not, you know, so out of the blue.
That's beer and wine. That to me is the difference. It's beer and wine, not a full OP.
Listen, that point is taken, and I hear you on that. I was just you know, making the point that this is not the first restaurant to not the first grocery store to have the idea of people drinking on premises.
Agree.
Okay, and then we have a question from Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
Hi. So you guys keep saying that you're a supermarket and that's really your focus. But when I look at the renderings of the main floor, it feels very Italy to me. It feels like, you know, a real experience. You go, you stay, you have your cocktails, you go to all these, you know, food kiosks and counters, and it feels really social. And then the actual food, besides the fruit stands, is all downstairs. So it feels more like a restaurant to me at this point, or more like a food court, like Italy, which we know usually has lines around the block over there in Madison Square Park area in the Flatiron District. The other thing is, are you guys going to have cashiers, or is it self-checkout upstairs? Because it looks like I don't see where they would stand.
So I'll let them answer your second question about cashiers. It's a good one, and just to respond to the first one. I mean, I hear your point about Italy. I think Italy, this would be Italy if there was no downstairs and this was ran by a former celebrity chef, and it had all of that branding and destination sort of hoopla associated with it. If you're right. I mean, this is first and foremost a gourmet garage, and for those who have been to other gourmet garages, it is more of a neighborhood place than a place that would attract tourists. It's not going to have all of the hullabaloo associated with Italy with it, and that's because they do have in this downstairs area. So if we just had the upstairs area, I think I would hear what you're saying. But since there is this downstairs area, which is large, and it's a grocery store, I think that's really what's going to drive people there.
The grocery feels really secondary to me for that reason.
Right.
And I'd like to echo what Donna said. We really need another supermarket over here. We do. We want it so bad, and we were so excited. And I speak for the entire neighborhood, of course, but we were so excited to know that Gourmet Garage, which is a trusted brand in this neighborhood, was coming here, and that we were going to be able to get those groceries. And now to find out that, in fact, it's not really Gourmet Garage. And when I look at the renderings and the plans and the menus, it's not even the same food or offerings as Gourmet Garage. I'm still just trying to wrap my head on exactly what you guys are.
Well, I mean, I respectfully disagree with that, just to the extent that the reason that it may seem and feel like the more of the focus is on the upstairs is just the nature of this committee and what we're applying for, in that we're applying for a liquor license. And so we're focusing on this upstairs element. I'm sure the people on this call with Gourmet Garage would be happy to talk all about the downstairs as well, because that's really their big business. But that's just, it feels secondary on this call, because that's not really a big part of the liquor license that we're applying for. Yes, there's a grocery store, and that's really what they are first and foremost. And just the second sort of quick response to that is that you are getting the Gourmet Garage brand. I mean, these people own 3 Gourmet Garages in Manhattan. They own 30 ShopRites in the region. They just bought the Fairways in New York City. And so they are a supermarket company, and that is what they do first and foremost. And that's what you're going to get here.
And
Okay.
the
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Cashiers?
Say it again.
Oh, cashiers. Yeah, Tom, you want to talk about cashiers?
Yeah, there's 2 cashiers, one on each end. That way they're by the doors. They're also part of the monitoring process for a bunch of reasons why people don't walk out of the store, not just for liquor as well. And there's the checkouts in the middle, or self-checks, and there's a live cashier also at the bar. So yeah, there's two live cashiers in that run, and the rest are self-check.
Okay, so I got all the questions that have been asked and answered, and so
Actually, I have a quick question, but I don't know how to raise my hand as a co-host.
no problem. Go, Robin.
I was just wondering, I'm sorry if I missed it because I came in late, I apologize. Is there a way you could describe what you're expecting as far as the experience of the person who would be having a drink there? So are they going to come in, have a drink, and sit for 5 or 10 minutes and leave? Or are they, how long do you expect them to stay? What are you prescribing as the experience that people use?
No, we didn't. Yeah, I don't think we answered that specific question. So I think, Tom, you want to touch on that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So it's fast casual food. It's typically what we see in all our stores, and we do have large food courts in all our supermarkets. Typically you see people hang around an average of 30 minutes. Some people are in and out quicker, 15, 20 minutes. If it's lunchtime and it's during the week, you could see up to 40 minutes, but we see around 30 minutes on average. It's not very long.
Yeah, we're really hoping these people shop before or after they eat and have something to drink here.
Okay, thanks. So just, I know, Max, you're familiar with our stipulations. I want to make sure that there's a few things before we end this that are covered. One is, no pitchers of beer, things of that sort, no boozy brunches. Those stipulations. I want to make sure that there's not going to be anything outside here. Everything is enclosed. There's no operable doors or windows that take place, right?
I don't believe there's operable windows. You got no French windows or anything like that, right, guys?
No, I believe they're all
No.
just
What-
standard
what's
windows.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's all fixed. Currently it's fixed unless they change it. So,
Yeah, no plans to change it.
okay, so the clouded area in the diagram, okay? You see the clouded area in the diagram? That would be the designated drinking area, okay? So in terms of stipulations, the stipulation would have to be accompanied by this diagram with the cloud, okay?
That's
Does
fine. To the extent,
that-
to the extent that
guys-
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to
Does that
interrupt.
make sense to you?
Yeah, I was just going to say, to the extent there's been a little bit of, as you've seen, a little bit of not being on the same page about the diagram. It seems, if anything, what they're going to build maybe even be smaller than what's on the diagram, not larger. So that the clouded area, that would be the maximum extent of it.
Well, all I'm saying is that as a part of it, if there's any going to be stipulations in this case, there has to be a diagram as well, okay?
And I understand, and we could go with that diagram for demonstrating what, the clouded area, that would be the maximum extent of any alcohol consumption area.
Okay, great. It's been a whole hour. We've taken a long time on this.
One last question, very quick. Is it
Go,
ADA accessible? Is it ADA accessible, the store?
Someone, Tom, or anyone know the answer, Frank?
I don't know the answer, but it has to be is really the answer, and all of our other stores are, so I'm sure this one will be too.
Okay, it looks like there's an elevator in the back by the stairs, but I just wanted to,
There is an elevator in the back. You're absolutely right.
okay.
Okay, thank you, Frank and Tom and Max. We appreciate it very much, you coming down. And
You're welcome. Thank you all for your time and your great questions.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
yes. Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on to the next application. Is the folks from Dahan here, Dahan Hospitality? You see them, Carter?
I don't, but I don't know their names, so that's,
Yeah. Is somebody in the attendees want to raise their hand if they're involved with Dahan Hospitality? Still nothing?
don't see anything.
Okay. All right, so let me just. All right, so next up is going to be, we're going to do the Union Square, the hotel. HHLP Union Square Associates. Hershaw Hospitality. People want to raise your hand if you're here on that one? Oh, we got Donald Bernstein, go ahead. Everybody, how are we doing? You guys hear us?
They can't, there are multiple hosts, and so if other people are trying to move them, it doesn't work. So, okay, now I can move them in.
Let me know when you got everybody.
Yeah. I think we've got everybody here.
Mr. Bernstein, you there? You got to unmute if you're there. All right.
Can you guys hear us? Donald?
I can hear you.
Okay, you can
Well, we
also
can hear you
start.
now.
There you go. You have to unmute yourself, Donald.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Great. Okay. All right. All right. Hi, everybody. It's the Hershaw Hospitality Hotel. It's the Union Square Hyatt Hotel. It's a corporate change application. There are 4 co-licensees.
Hold, Donald, I just want to make sure everybody's, is there anybody else here with you on this application? I just want to make sure
Yes.
they're up. Okay.
Yes, I think.
Let's make sure they're
Hiram-
here and they're introduced.
Hiram is here. I see his name up there. I'm here. Yep.
Great. And who
Dan,
else?
are you on too, Dan? Is Dan
Yes,
on?
hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. Now go ahead, Donald.
Okay. There are 4 co-licensees. There are 2 entities that are ownership of the hotel. There's a Hershaw Hospitality Management Company that manages the hotel. There's a food and beverage operator. The application is for a corporate change. One of those entities, the management company, is changing ownership. The indirect ownership change is only about 74%, I think, 72.7%. But the direct owner is changing 100%. It's a corporate parent, which has another corporate parent. And then indirectly, you have about a 72% change. The 72% that's coming in are just public pension funds, university endowments, and institutional investors. The control of that entity is the same. Ownership of the hotel is the same. The food and beverage operator is the same. Nothing will be changing. The operation is the same. I went over with my clients the stipulation from 2016 and the MOU, and then the subsequent stipulation on the Sidewalk Cafe. Everything's in place. Nothing's changing. It's all the same.
Okay, so you guys are going to be willing to sign those stipulations in 2016?
Yeah, we can. It's the same entity, so it's going to be the same people signing because the officers and directors of that entity are the same as the current ones. So if you need it, we can do it, but you're going to get the same people signing it.
Yeah, no, we're going to need the actual stipulation signed. But the reality is, as long as everybody's willing to agree to those stipulations, it's a very extensive number of stipulations. And if everybody's willing to agree to that, then it is just the corporate change.
Yep, that's all it is.
Okay. And so in terms of the stipulations, committee members, we have them. I could probably send it in an email to folks. It's not something that's been disseminated before the meeting. So if you give me a chance during the next application, I will forward it to everybody. So, but Donald, in terms of the stipulations, let me just get it up first here to make sure we're talking about the same stipulations. Just give me a second here.
Yeah. So Bob, I have a letter that you sent to the SLA on April 11th, 2016.
Yeah, give me a second. Now I have to find it. I only have 20 windows open here. All right, hold on a second here. All right. The one I have is not signed. So that's why.
Excuse me, Donald, what is the date on, and you're talking about the Community Board 2 resolution?
I didn't, we didn't do that application.
All right, no, but which date?
I have a letter that CB2 sent to the SLA April 11, 2016.
Okay, so and it references March.
There were prior ones before. There were prior ones, but that's the latest.
It references the March 24th, 2016. Yes. Okay, so
that's correct.
Give me 1 second.
2016 meeting is when you adopted your resolution.
Yeah, so, can you put that up, Carter?
Sure, I can share that.
I just want to make sure that they see what we have and that we're all on the same page. That's all.
Yeah, it's the same that what you're referring to. Give me 1 second here, and let me just.
Yeah, it's extensive, and it starts with.
It's give me 1 second. Where am I looking here? All right.
Just a minute. I'm sorry, Donald. We'll just take a second here, and then we'll be done.
I have it. Do you need me to send it?
No, it's hold on just a second, guys. Sorry, I'm just getting the right screen. I've got a lot of windows open too, so I just want to.
Either that, Donald, or you could send me an email with it, and I could compare the two.
It is, I mean, Bob, I'm having trouble getting it up, but it is the same one.
Okay. All right. So with the stipulations, instead of it's going to have a different name, but the stipulations are all going to be the same.
Yeah. And
okay.
That's fine.
All right. Does anybody have any questions before I let them go? Okay, great. Thank you, Donald.
Okay, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
Okay. Bye.
Zoom, via Zoom, coming down via Zoom. All right, so how about Dahan Hospitality? Anybody here on that one yet? I'm just looking to see if I can find out who the person is, so we can.
It's Aaron Dahan.
Yeah, it's a coffee shop on Greenwich Avenue. Anybody here on that one? 112 Greenwich Ave? No? Okay. All right, so next up is going to be, is there anybody here on Josan and Josan Taco Mahal? If you are, raise your hand. No? Okay, so we're gonna go to Mishka Soho, 519 Broome Street.
Bob,
Yeah.
Max has his hand up for the Josan, I think.
Right, well, I know, Max, I'm gonna present it. You know what, why don't we just do that one first, okay? Because if Max is waiting around for that, we'll present that one first, and then we'll go to Mishka, okay? So, Max, do you wanna say anything?
Hold on, we got to bring him back as a
Yeah.
panelist. So, and Rosa also has her hand raised. Is that for the next one?
Yeah.
Max, hold on, we got to unmute you.
Can you hear me now?
There you go, Max.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I believe it or not, I have nothing better to do than watch your meetings, and so I happen to be here still. Let me just say, I emailed with Bob about this, and Bob, thank you for your flexibility on this. It's much appreciated. But since I happen to be here, let me just say a word or two. So Josan is Taco Mahal. It's one of my clients I'm really, really proud to represent. I mean, she's got a great story, Danica Josan. It was an old bodega that her father had run for years and years and years. The rent got too high, and so he got his daughter involved, and she came up with this Indian tacos concept, drawing from her two heritages, her Indian heritage from her father, her Latina heritage from her mother. And I've eaten there many times. The place took off. It's doing so well now that she's opening a second place in Hell's Kitchen, and so it's someone I'm really proud to represent. But always on the license was her and her mother, because her mother helped with some of the funding. Her mother tragically died last year, and it was too early, and it was unexpected, and it was just very sad. And because of that, we have the obligation of removing the mother from the license, because Danica is going from under 80% to over 80%. She'll be 100% now. It triggers community board notification. Nothing's changing. I mean, Danica ran the business. Her mother really, had nothing to do with it other than lending, giving some money. So, what we had offered is to sign the same exact stipulations that we previously signed with you. I don't think there's any community problems with this place, and that's the story.
Okay, thank you, Max. So just so everybody knows, Taco Mahal on 7th Avenue, that's what we're talking about. It's just a corporate change, and everything, the method of operation is going to be the same thing, and the stipulations that exist are going to be re-signed, at this time by the single owner versus the mother and daughter, okay? Does anybody have any questions? So I got Dr. Shirley Smith. You got a question? Go ahead.
Yes. Bob, do you have the stipulations in front of you that you can share?
I can send them to everybody in executive if you'd like.
Okay.
Or maybe during the next application, I can get one sent to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. And I'll do that. All right. But remind me if I forget. All right. But I'll do that. And just want to welcome the new community board members that were just brought into CB2 just a few days ago. Thanks for coming to our meeting tonight. I guess I could introduce William and Eugene, and I can't see if there's any, there are other people too, I believe. But welcome aboard, guys, and thanks for coming. And if you have any questions, or if you want to stay for our meeting all the way to the end, you can see how things operate. That would be great. And if you have a question, if you think of one as an application go, and you're more than welcome to raise your hand as well. Okay. All right. And
Thank you.
So, yeah, you bet. I know there are other people, and I'm sorry I didn't introduce you, but I don't see you on the screen right off the top of my head. So I apologize. But we have another application we're going to get to, and that's going to be, thanks, Max. That's going to be the one I just spoke to about. It's Mishka. Straight there. Hold on a second here. Mishka Soho at 519 Broome Street. If you guys want to raise your hands, we'll bring you forward.
Yes, we're here.
Great.
All right, and Marina's right there.
Hello.
Yeah, okay, right there. Okay.
Gotcha. Hi, Marina. Okay. So we
How are
got
you?
Rosa Ruiz.
Yes. How do I put the video on?
You got to push the
I found it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do we have everybody aboard that needs to be
Yes.
aboard? Okay, great. So why don't, Rosa, and Marina, why don't you introduce yourselves and talk about what this application is, okay?
Okay. Good evening, everybody. So this application is for a full on-premise liquor license over at 519 Broome Street. Total occupancy is 38. Hours of operation will be 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. 34 seats inside with one stand-up bar of 6 seats. And then the side lot of 3 tables and 6 seats with European Russian cuisine.
I couldn't hear everything you said.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my, because I have it on full volume. Okay.
Rosa, why don't you start again?
Okay, so this application is from Mishka Soho.
You know, I think there's some background noise. If everybody could mute if they're not talking, that would be great. Okay, now go ahead, Rosa.
Hi, okay. So this application is for a full on-premise liquor license over at 519 Broome Street. Total occupancy is 38. Hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 1 a.m., 7 days a week. She'll be serving European Russian cuisine. And then so on the inside, there'll be a total of 34 seats, one stand-up bar with 6 seats at the stand-up bar, full service restaurant, background music only, and the side lot, 3 tables with 6 seats, 2 at each table. And then those hours of operation will be Sunday through Wednesday till 10 o'clock at night, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 11 o'clock.
Those are the outdoor hours?
Those are the outdoor.
Okay. And you said, because there is no diagram for that outdoor area, you said there were 3 tables and 6 seats?
Yes, it was on the side, and then I had sent an email. I don't know if the pages got stuck together when I scanned it, but I had sent it over.
Okay, so where are the 3 tables and 6 seats located? Are they up against a wall? Where are they?
It's up against, it'll be up against the wall. So there's a window of a pass-through where you can pass the food outside on the side.
Okay, so because your diagram, I was looking at your diagram,
Mhm.
and I couldn't tell how you got outside. How does somebody get outside?
So you
From
come
the
out through the
inside?
front. So you come out through the front door on Broome Street, because it's a corner restaurant, and then you just walk around the corner.
Okay, so there's no access to the outdoor area from the inside of the restaurant other than going through the front door.
The front door, and then there's also a pass-through window
Okay.
on that side. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna close the window because I'm having a bad glare over here.
No problem. Just tell us when you're ready.
Okay. All right. I'm back.
Okay, so there, you know, it looks like, at least in terms of the side lot that's next door, it looks like there's some sort of building or some sort of small building there. That doesn't have anything to do with the restaurant.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so if you were certain, it's like a sidewalk cafe on the side lot. Is that
Yes, yes,
driving
within
it?
the property line. Yes.
Okay, and you say 3 tables and 6 seats, but the application has more.
No, you're looking at from the inside. So the inside has 34 seats. It's less than 74 occupancy. Total occupancy is maybe 40 persons total. It's a small restaurant.
Okay. And do you have any permits that give you permission to serve alcohol on the outdoor area? It's not a sidewalk cafe. Do you have any certificate of occupancy or letter of no objection or anything on that front that indicates you have permission to use that side lot?
No, not yet. And she's working with her architect currently, but because of what's going on with the virus, the buildings department is not taking a lot of applications, because even with the certificate of occupancy, she was able to get a sign off to have an updated C of O, and she has an email confirmation, but the buildings department is not issuing.
And so I guess I would throw this out fairly early in the conversation, Rosa and Marina, that if you don't have a permit to serve alcohol outside, would you be willing to keep that out of the application at this time and just have an application for the indoor restaurant? Because I mean, that could be difficult, at least in terms of the entire application, if one section of it doesn't have a permit.
Marina, you have to unmute yourself.
Yes. Yes.
You understand what I'm saying, Marina?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I guess at this point, that's what I need to do.
Because Marina, you know, one thing that, I mean, you can always seek an alteration if you get the permit to be outside. That's always something that can happen in the future. But at this point, there's no, that permit doesn't exist. So I have to ask the question, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
So would you be willing to go forward with the application without the outdoor area
Yes.
at this point?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we're just talking about the inside area. And in terms of the indoor area, are you making it, like, there was a restaurant there before. Are you planning to make any changes to where the location of the bar is and that sort? Or are you pretty much going with where things were located with the other restaurant?
Everything is the same as the previous. The bar wasn't moved or anything. And what she
Okay.
did on the inside was cosmetic changes to clean it up and everything else.
Okay, so Marina, I think there's something in the background that's in your apartment. There's some sort of background noise going on. Is there somebody talking?
Doggy
Or
walking outside of the window.
it's outside?
Oh, that's her dog.
Yeah,
That's her dog.
outside of the window.
No,
There's some sort of an echo. It's almost like there's two
The
devices.
the window.
Okay, all right, there we go. All right, so in terms of the bar, there was an issue with this location in the past, at least in the bar being so close to there's French doors in front.
I don't think there's French doors.
There's one set of French doors right in the front, the entrance.
In the very front, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and so you have an indication you want to have some live music, right? And right? Is that part of your application?
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I have is, what kind of live music are you going to have? Number
So it's
one.
going to be
Number two
Russian.
is, if you're going to have live music, would you be willing to keep those doors shut during the live music?
Yes.
Okay, and
Because
what
I've
kind
had
of live
that
music are you
conversation.
playing?
And the live music is not amplified. It will be Russian jazz.
Okay. So could you give me a little bit more description of the live music other than the Russian jazz? When you say acoustic, what do you mean by that?
Non-amplified. So we'll just be a singer singing into maybe a microphone, but mostly a cappella.
And when there is any music that's taking place, the doors will be closed. Doors will closed.
Yes.
Okay. That will be part of. Okay with that?
Yes.
That's a yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Does anybody have any questions? Do you want to raise your hand?
I had a question, Bob. I can't raise my hand.
Go ahead, Carter.
This application was subject to basically, it was the last applicant was decided.
Hold on, Carter. Hold on, Marina. If you could, there you go. Thank you. That's good. Just if you could mute, you can mute when other people are talking, and just unmute when your time is to talk. Okay. Great, thank you. Go ahead, Carter.
So we'd received a letter in opposition to this afternoon, and also the application had been decided in front of the members of the authority the last time, and their recommendation as far as public interest was there's no live music, that the outdoor lot would never be used. It's not contiguous to this location, that there's background music only. No dancing, DJs, or jukebox, no sidewalk cafe. The hours of operation were 12 a.m. during the week, 1 a.m. on the weekends. The doors would be closed at all times. Food, all hours of operation. Total of 38 seats, and it was conditional on a C of O being issued and or kept current, and that there would absolutely be no use of that outdoor area, and that it was for deliveries and parking only, and that the landlord, I guess, at that time had said that they had 2 spots on the outdoors. Is that? You guys are applying for something different than that?
Very slightly different, but mostly it's all the same. And when I pulled the records, the FOIA request from the Liquor Authority, I could have sworn I saw in their records 1 o'clock in the morning, 7 days a week. That's why I put the proposed hours of operation 1 a.m. 7 days.
Yeah, I just watched the recording of the meeting. It was on January 24th.
No, I watched it too, but when they issued the approval letter, I'm pulling the FOIA request now. It was in there as 1 a.m.
Well, would you be okay with 12 during the week and 1 on the weekends?
Marina, are you okay with midnight during the week and 1 o'clock on the weekends?
Yes.
Okay, and Marina, you understand that closing hours means that all the patrons are gone, okay?
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
it doesn't mean this is the last time to serve. It means everybody has to be out, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, so go ahead, Carter.
Yeah, no, so and then the other one was that the front facade was closed at all times, and they said that after the applicant had operated for some time, they could revisit that, and no live music. Those were the other differences, but that was the same residents who'd had issues with noise on the exterior had sent us a letter. I don't know if you've had a chance to review that, Bob or Donna, or if you sent it on, but to the committee.
Yeah, I forwarded it on to the committee.
Oh.
All right. And I see a hand up by Dr. Shirley Smith. Go ahead, Dr. Smith.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Okay, I was going to ask about how often the music, but it seems like Carter is saying that they are not to have music, or am I misunderstanding what he just said?
No, he's talking about the last application that went to the SLA, and the SLA imposed certain restrictions, and one of them was no live music. And in this case, it doesn't mean it applies to this particular application.
Okay. Okay.
But
okay,
it's just a fact that Carter was letting everybody know about.
Okay, well then my question then is, talk a little bit more about how often the music will be. And I heard you said it wouldn't be amplified and somebody might come and do something. How often will this music be? And you said it was going to be jazz?
Marina?
Yes.
How many days a week were you proposing to do the Russian jazz?
I would probably say 2 to 3.
Do you have it like when do you have a time, like do you have a time during the evening when that's going to happen, or during the day? When are you planning to do the live music?
Probably anywhere from 5 to 8 on the weekdays, and if it's a Sunday, during brunch.
Okay. And generally speaking, when we have this acoustical music, that means no drum, no horn.
No, absolutely not.
It permits.
It's a classic piano.
Okay, so mostly piano, maybe guitar. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, classic. It's classic music.
Okay, and like,
will you have it?
Will it be one person, 2 people? What do you think?
At the most, 2 people.
At the most, 2 people?
Yes.
And will it be singing as well?
Most of the time, not.
Okay. But there could be some singing, and would you need a microphone for purposes of this?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay, so no microphones, no drums, no horns.
No.
And generally speaking, the music is going to be between 5 and 8 p.m. on brunch day, Saturday and Sunday, brunch day.
Yes.
And
Oh,
when
she
this
was saying,
occurred,
I'm sorry, real quick. I don't think she heard you right. So if she did it during the week, it would be 5 to 8. If she did
Right,
it
I
on
heard that.
Sunday for brunch, then it would be earlier in the day.
That's right. I understood.
Well, what
Very
about
much-
weekends? What about weekends?
I'd probably say brunch time would be comfortable for everyone.
And what time would that be?
What time is that?
Sabrina?
Sorry, Bob.
I would say 12 to 4.
Okay. And when you do that, you'll agree to close the doors. That's really
Absolutely. Absolutely.
all right. And Shirley, was that your question? Did you get,
Yes. Yes.
okay, great.
Yes, thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I had another question, Bob.
Right.
Can you, what's your relation to the last applicant that we had at this location, which was Vlada von Schatz, who came to us in October of 2019?
So originally originally she was gonna do it with another person, and then that didn't work out, which is why she changed it to Mishka Soho, and she's doing it by herself. So she ended up forming a new corporation.
Rosa, could you say that again? I had a hard time hearing you. Go ahead.
Oh, originally back in October, she was gonna do the application. I think it was started with an S, and she was originally gonna do that with a partner, and then that didn't work out between them. So she decided that she was just gonna run the restaurant by herself, which is why she formed a new corporation and signed a new lease.
Was she a part of the last application? Because I don't see her listed as a principal.
In the October one,
Yeah.
I didn't do that application, but I know that she was originally on that lease. It would have been a part of that application, and that didn't go through.
Okay. All right. I think that's it. Unless anybody has any other questions, go ahead, Donna.
Where would you locate the musicians when they are there?
Marina, where would the musicians?
In a very entrance of the right-hand side as you enter. It should probably be plenty to have a guitar player and maybe a small piano.
So just to say, one of the residents had emailed us before this that lives across the street and said that the pianos were by the front doors before and the doors were often left open. But even with the front doors there, with the musicians right by the doors, everyone outside could hear them, and that was with pianos and guitars. I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
This was a big issue, and that's why the liquor authority had removed live music when this was Anyway Cafe, and also required that the front facade be closed at all times. It was in response to that. And clearly the last operator operated in violation of their method of operation with the windows open and the doors open, and it caused a problem. So what's the story with the front facade? What are you going to be using it? Are you going to be opening it?
No, I acknowledge yes, I absolutely understand the issue, and I am more than willing to keep my doors closed at all times unless it has any relation to an event that I'm doing that is with the outside related. Absolutely, I understand.
Well, what type of events would you do that are related on the outside?
Well, if somebody wants to have something with the Soho City and is asking me to keep my doors open, I would be more than willing to do so.
I'm not sure, meaning the windows open there, correct?
Not at all times, no.
No, but they're operable windows, correct?
Oh, yes, yes.
So I'm not sure I understand when you would be opening them so that you could pass things through there. I'm not sure I'm understanding what you mean.
No, right now, at this point, I would not open them, period, due to this situation. But going forward, unless it's absolutely necessary and it's something that I assigned with the city, meaning or town or city, something that we're participating width where it's the whole block. No, I would not keep my doors open.
I would be surprised if they closed Broome Street for any of those types of events. But I mean, so in your day-to-day course of operation, we're not talking about an exception for, you know, a street fair or whatever it may be. We're talking about the day-to-day normal
No,
operations.
no, that would be closed.
So you're willing to agree that's to the previous stipulation that the facade would remain closed at all times?
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay. And Rosa, you're familiar with our general stipulations. You'll be able to explain those to Marina. Okay. There's not going to be anything new there, but I just want to make sure that we know what those are going to be.
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Marina, Rosa, for coming.
Thank you.
And Bob, you'll email me the stipulation?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. So let me try one more time with Dahan Hospitality DBA Cafe Aron at 112 Greenwich. Anybody here on that application? Let's see. Raise your hand. I'm having a little bit. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. I see Colin, user 1, and external view. That's all I see. And then Max, Rosa, and Ruben Perez. But I think they're on other applications. So I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna just check something, Bob.
Yeah. And I'll forward that stipulation to people now. So that would be that. If there's nobody else that's coming in, that's it for tonight, guys. And why don't we take a quick break for a few minutes here, and then I'll send the stipulations for the Taco Mahal location.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, I'm here.
For the Dahan Hospitality, it's a fairly straightforward application. Do we want to consider hearing this without the applicant?
Yeah, or I can present it myself.
Because I'm not so sure it's controversial. I mean, if anybody has any issues, but this is something that I think we'd rather move forward.
I don't have any objection to that.
I don't either. It has hardly any seats and the hours are very reasonable.
We'll wait for everybody to come back and we can discuss that.
Of course, now I can't find the Taco Mahal stips. I'll find them though.
Okay. Let me see. What I did, is that what you're looking for, or?
Yeah, well, no, but you just copied from the stips that we had gotten already. I think, let's see.
Yeah, I just would take mine. Yeah, I just have notes on the bottom. Do you want me to take them off and?
No, let me, I think I got it here.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
The only thing on that, Bob, I just not sure if there were any doors and windows or, you know.
No, there are none.
That box, so that can, okay.
Okay. All right, let me just. All right, I think I got everybody here, and I'll forward them now. It will be under the heading Josan and Josan, okay? All right, there should be CB2 STIPs there, and the STIPs are 7 to 12, 7 days a week. Operate a sidewalk cafe no later than 11 p.m. But I guess we can do this at executive. But in terms of Dahan hospitality, let me open that up, and I can present that myself. Okay. Okay, so I got Eugene Yu, right? I'm just thinking new folks on our community board, if other people have not met them. And William Benish,
Mhm.
I see those two. Let me see who else.
I think that's it.
That's it right now, but there were other folks here earlier. Okay.
Did you get the Kristen Shea is here?
Yeah.
Wow, Kristen Shea, so long time no see.
I know. I miss you guys.
Welcome.
No pizza and beer after the meeting.
I know.
Well, maybe there will
tough.
be. But
That's
is
the tough part.
I know.
So Bob, you want to reconvene us and we can.
Yeah, we can reconvene, and then we have Tom Connor, who we haven't seen in a long time. So welcome back, Tom, again. And it looks like everybody's here. Okay.
Do you want to recall the Dahan hospitality? Just.
Okay, so you guys, this is a beer and wine application. They did not appear. I think they've been trying to get this on our calendar for a while, and they did some outreach. And bottom line is, I'd like to see if we can do this even with them not appearing, and hopefully go through Florence and get the STIPs to them. So this is a small coffee shop, a location on Greenwich Ave, near West 13th Street. It's previously unlicensed location. It was some sort of telephone store. It's only 350 square feet. It's beer, wine, and their hours are till 7 p.m. So, the typical stipulations would be in place, and they do have a bathroom on their diagram. Background music, no French doors, no exterior facades that open out. And so I'll present that to you folks, okay? Anybody have any questions for me? No, okay. So with that presentation in place, why don't we move on to our—
Katie has a question.
Katie, go ahead, Katie. I don't see any questions. That's my.
She's chatting.
Oh, it's a chat.
Katie, can you hear us now?
No, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you. Oh,
We
good.
can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay. I was just curious, Bob, because they didn't put a drink menu, or they didn't say anything about what they're going to serve for beer and wine. Did they give you any more information on that?
Yes, I'm just looking at the questionnaire here, but they did give a menu.
I don't think it has.
Just has it has cupcakes on it. I mean, which is great. I'm all for that.
Well, I'm sure they're going to serve beer and wine, is what I think they're going to do. So
but they, I just was curious about.
Yeah, I did not see.
They had sent you anything else?
No.
No, but I'm sure they're. Okay. I'm sure they're going to add a few beers, and whether they add wine or not, probably not. I mean, you don't know, but usually wine by the glass. But in any event, they have a bathroom, and they have a certificate of occupancy and things of that sort. That seems everything.
And no sidewalk cafe, and I think only 7 seats.
There you go.
Did they send you guys a diagram? It didn't come through.
Yep. Yep. Let's see here.
Yeah, you guys need to refer to the emails for the full packages that are submitted. The full packages
It's
are
not
not
in
submitted.
it's not in their Dropbox thing they
It's,
sent.
Yeah.
I've been looking.
It's under,
Okay,
it says Dehan revised plan on the Dropbox. It's,
Yeah.
Oh,
it's.
okay.
down
Let me
the
look at that
bottom.
again.
It's been a little
Okay.
confusing. We've gotten a number of applications from them because for some reason they just didn't get on our calendar. But there is a revised plan.
Okay,
shows
let me
three-
look at that for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that there might, their representative doesn't practice before us regularly. And I think that there've been some issues. And I think that this lease was signed before everything got started. We got the 30-day notice, I think, in February. So it sort of fell into that, that window of time. And I believe they've already applied, they've already submitted their application. So, or they're planning on it. So.
Oh, I see that we got something on April 8th.
Right. So we want to have stipulations and we want to have a comment in terms of a resolution.
I think Shirley has a question for you, Bob.
Hey, Shirley. Go ahead, Shirley. Shirley, your hand. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I just unmuted myself. Normally, we do not actually vote on an application if the applicants are not around in person. So I'm just wondering again, why is this different?
This is different because I can just tell you that this is different because this applicant has been trying to move forward with this. And every little thing, there's always something that keeps coming up. They're operating from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's beer and wine. We don't really, there's not really much we can bring up in opposition. They have a bathroom and they need to move forward in filing.
Yeah, you know, from the exception is being made. I actually kind of made an exception for Taco Mahal as well. And the reason being that Taco Mahal is actually open and she's serving people. So I made an exception there as well. I let the lawyer know that ahead of time because I found out that she could not come. In this situation, I just think, you know,
We
I
just have
agree.
to be clear that we're making an exception and why.
Yeah.
That's all. Thank you, Susan. That's exactly what I was asking. I know we don't usually make an exception, but if we do, you just need to announce it and tell us why.
Well, Carter is right. They've been trying to get this application through, and I can't explain why they're not here tonight, but I know that they really wanted to move forward with it, so that's why I'm a little surprised.
No worries. Thank you. No worries.
Katie, you got your hand raised? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I found, thank you for pointing out they'd sent several times. I found the diagram, and in this time of COVID, they do have a toilet, but I don't see any sink. So just pointing that out to the committee.
Okay.
You know.
All right. So if everybody is okay, I'd like to start with our executive session or a business session where we can discuss things freely. I guess I'll start with the simple ones. The Union Square Associates, the hotel at Union Square, which is just a corporate change, and the stipulations are everything's going to stay the same, and there's an extensive amount of stipulations there. So I put that forth first. Anybody have any comments?
Deny
Okay.
less.
So deny and less on that one, guys.
Yeah, how many people are there?
That would be
how
a
many?
good question.
Yes, Kira.
Yes, deny and less.
Yep.
I think I have 11 of us here.
I'm here.
Yes.
Okay.
Less.
Yes.
You count 11?
I think, is Tom still here?
Yes.
Yeah, he's here.
Okay.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't count 11.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I count 10. Yeah, that's who is the co-host? Who's RAF? That's confusing me.
I have 11.
Yeah, I'm confused. I guess Carter, I'm trying to figure out who the co-hosts are. You got to unmute yourself, Carter.
Robin, Donna.
Yeah, you're seeing Raftery's last name. That's RAF.
Oh, got it. Okay, so 11.
I'm just a test co-host. I'm not stealing anybody's thunder. I'm just.
Yeah.
Oh,
Robin is
Robin.
practicing
That's
for
what's
tomorrow.
throwing me off. It's
Changed.
Robin
I'm
Rothstein.
just
Okay.
in preparation for my meeting tomorrow.
should we let Robin play around with things a little bit?
Well, when we're
I've
done,
been
we'll get there. We'll get there.
That's why you couldn't get to the participants before, because I was playing.
Okay, so that's number one, the hospitality hotel in Union Square. Number two is Jozan and Jozan. This is Taco Mahal. I'll put forth deny unless with the same steps.
Yes.
The corporate change there. Okay.
Yep.
Same method of operation, same everything. Okay, so that's again 11-0. Anybody, any objections there? Okay, 3 is going to be Dahan Hospitality. DBA Cafe Aron, 112 Greenwich. They did not show up, but it's a simple beer and wine. Are we in agreement on the deny unless?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. With the stipulations, okay. Next up is Mishka Soho, 519 Broome. Does anyone want to start? Okay. I will. I don't see a big significant issue here. She withdrew the outdoor area, which is clearly inappropriate, and they don't have a permit. And she was quick to amend on that front. And the hours are 12 and 1. And, you know, the live music is not, I don't think, that significant a deal as long as she agrees to close the doors, which she did. Anybody else have any comments?
No problems.
No.
I think we should just note that that lot next door is not contiguous in the resolution, and that I don't believe that they can properly license that even if they came back in the future, because you have to be able to walk directly through from the interior into the adjacent space in order for it to count as you know, a licensable area. You can't go out of the business, go in through another place to get into the other part of the business, and then hand the drinks through a hole in the wall. Like the,
Well, unless they decide to have a drive-in, right? They could drive in.
well,
Someone could come out in skates and deliver the hamburgers and stuff.
right.
Okay, so I will make sure that that's in the resolution. Everybody in agreement on the deny unless with stipulations? All right, I see a thumbs up from Robin Rothstein. Okay, the last but not least is BSM Gourmet, 585 Hudson Street. And I'm sure there's a number of people that want to talk on this one. I'll let you guys go. Whoever wants to go first, just go ahead.
I'm going to start. This is Katie. I hope Mara says something too. I mean, I don't think they understand this location in the least. This is not Stroudsburg or Morristown, and the farmers market's right there. I think they don't have enough staff to cope with what they might be facing, and they don't understand the demographics at all in that area. So I think I would love to have a gourmet garage there. I totally miss them on 7th Avenue. The people in that area want that grocery store. It is not so easy to get down to the grocery store through that elevator. I know that from Mrs. Green's, and it's, you know, quite congested when you get into the shelving area. But so I think they've got it backwards too. We want the grocery store upstairs where we can find our groceries. But those are just my thoughts off, and I want to hear what Mara has to say because she lives even closer.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Before you guys talk, so I just have a quick question for you guys. There was a grocery store around the corner. Is that still there?
Yeah, D'Agostino's is there.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Mark.
Was it Graffiti's, wasn't it? before?
No, it was Gristedes. That space was a Gristedes a million trillion years ago. Growing up, it was a Gristedes. So yeah, I really feel like it's a food court. It's like a tourist trap food court, like all the ones they have in Times Square, the way it is now. Yes, the grocery should be upstairs. Whatever sort of, restaurant situation they want to do should be downstairs. It seems like a poor design if you're really trying to sell groceries, because it is not that easy. I mean, even when it was Mrs. Green's, it wasn't that easy to get downstairs. It was a pain to have to go downstairs to do to get your groceries. Like the bread was down there and the fish and the beef was down there, and it was just a hassle. And it's hard to get up. There's no escalator. If you're carrying a bunch of stuff or you have a stroller, you have to take the elevator, which is slow and takes a really long time. And it feels like they're trying to create more of a tourist experience rather than providing the neighborhood with a much needed grocery store. D'Agostino's has been failing for years, and we don't have enough options, here. But I will tell you, my mother told me that if I spoke out against this gourmet garage, she would kill me, because she never wants to walk into D'Agostino's again as long as she lives. So, but it's not a grocery store,
Okay, so, sorry, Mar, I got a quick question for you, because I haven't used the grocery store up there. So D'Agostino's it's a small one right off Greenwich, right? Or
it's not that small. It's been there my whole life. I've been shopping there almost 50 years.
But it was closed. Wasn't it closed for a period of time?
I don't remember it closing. The shelves were bare for a long time. They couldn't pay anybody. D'Agostino's was faltering seriously, and there was no food. I mean, you'd walk in there and it looked like, COVID had hit, but this was 3 years ago? And they couldn't stock the shelves for the longest time, but apparently they made a turnaround. But they don't offer, gourmet or a good variety of food at D'Agostino's, and the prices are ridiculous for what they do offer. I mean, it's really basic stuff, which we're thankful for now, but Mrs. Green's was a great other option, and Mrs. Green's prices were decent. I don't know what their food prices are going to be at this new gourmet garage, because now I don't even feel good calling it gourmet garage, because they're like, no, we just bought the name. It doesn't look like a gourmet garage. So, and there's no rendering of the downstairs. I saw the floor plan, but it's like they tried to shove the grocery on the lower level, and then I don't feel the focus of the business is on the groceries. That's all.
Okay, and Shirley, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you for calling on me. I am objecting because I think that they need to have a beer and wine there and not a full liquor. And is it my understanding also, Bob, that this has never been licensed before?
Yeah, we don't have a license. There's never been a license at this location. The C of O does allow for eating and drinking there, but it's always been a grocery store.
Okay, thank you. I'm voting against it.
So the grocery store would sell beer and wine in terms of a grocery store license, but not for purposes of eating.
Consumption.
Consumption.
So my vote is denied.
Okay, right. Does anybody else? Go ahead, Donna.
I would just turn around and say, the other thing, because I didn't want to get into it, but with all the food to go and takeout, it's really easy. To Carter's point of them competing with some of the other restaurants around there, if you're waiting for brunch or you just want to grab a sandwich quickly, you go in, but now you might sit down there and eat and get a drink. It's one thing, the beer and wine, but to be able to have cocktails, those places that are around the corner that get so crowded and everybody sits on the sidewalk, I'm concerned that people might just give up and go in there and have their Bloody Marys on a Saturday or Sunday. Not that it's the same ambiance, but if you don't want to wait 2 hours, and I think it's important that we give the restaurants nearby, keep them going with what they have. I don't understand why a supermarket needs to have a full OP.
I agreed with that. I said they're going to get tons of runoff. I mean, people are going to get tired of waiting in line at May May and the Hudson Hounds and all the really popular places and just go over there and have their boozy brunches, because that's what's going to happen.
Go ahead, Susan.
You know, if they were really concerned about their competition from Amazon, they would set up delivery with something like Instacart so that they wouldn't, so that their so-called primary business would be more competitive. They're going for something that's, according to them, a sliver of their business, but they're dedicating half of their space and the more attractive half of their space to it, instead of looking at options that will actually promote groceries.
And I can see why that would work in New Jersey, where you don't have restaurants, cafes like we have a block away. It's a perfect model for there. But for here, you're absolutely right. The delivery would be the driver.
Their data is really not persuasive because the locations they're talking about are so different from what we're dealing with.
Right. This is a walk-up location. None of their other locations are walk-up. And also, of course, I am going to go ahead and assume that they're offering delivery. I mean, even D'Agostino's is offering, they have people in there shopping and collecting groceries that they will deliver to people in the neighborhood. Are they not going to offer that? I mean, that would just be stupid. So for them, yeah.
I was just going to say, too, also, we have a lot of concerns with a lot of the CVSs and other types of chain stores sort of bleeding off business by offering grocery products that stops people from going to the grocery store. This is sort of the reverse, and when people are walking, people go out and run errands, you have a little diversity of stores. We have less and less of that, and this is promoting an even further reduction in diversity of stores by selling everything that everybody else does. And it doesn't seem to help for our community, sort of meeting the public interest standard of the 500-foot rule, which is different than a beer and wine license. That it just doesn't seem to meet the public interest. I don't think I'd run over to the grocery store because I can have a drink instead of ordering stuff online or food, online from Whole Foods or wherever. I'm not going to drop everything and, go over there because I can have a drink. I mean, that's just doesn't make much sense to me. Maybe somebody else here it does, but that.
Okay, so I'm hearing that we need a grocery store, but we don't need one with an on-premise liquor license. That's what I'm hearing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'd say that we even suggest that the more appropriate route for them to take is to go for, to move forward. We wouldn't have objections to them moving forward with the beer and wine license because they don't have the same standards to meet.
How about if they came back in a year and they started out with the beer and wine, they came back a year and they asked for an on-premise then? What would you guys say
I
about
don't think we should be making any promises in the world that we're living
Right.
in.
I agree.
We've been having meetings where we're agonizing about how to help our small businesses. And here we have some big player walking in and killing the little guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy into the killing the little guy argument, but and I do think we need a grocery store, and this is going to cause good competition with the bad grocery store right around the block. No, I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm just saying it's just typical grocery store. Grocery stores in New York City have been going out of business, and so I want to encourage grocery stores to come into the city. I think we're fairly desperate for good grocery stores in our areas. Just look at all the people going to the new ones, the ones that are so popular. Of course, I can't remember the names right off the top of my head, but Trader Joe's, right? And then also the one in downtown, which is what they just talked about, like the one that
Fairway?
Not Fairway, the other one.
The Whole Foods?
Whole Foods, yeah. Everybody's going over to Whole Foods.
And neither one is a traditional market.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm just saying, times are changing, and so the question is I mean, I kind of understand. I don't think this is going to have a huge impact, and personally, I just don't. But the question then becomes: do we really need to have an on-premise liquor license in Greenwich Village in a grocery store. That's all.
No.
I think it's inconsistent. That's all.
And just to your point, Bob, there's another issue here too, is that what we're seeing right now, and probably going for quite some time, that takeout business and delivery business is it's going to be a huge component of restaurants going forward. And even if these guys open in 7-8 months, the prepared food model, of which they're sort of easing into, where you can sit down and eat, it does undermine a lot of our other traditional businesses to some extent. And it's the whole movement of casual dining is sort of really changing our community in a lot of our restaurants, and it's wearing a lot of hats. You can't really get into those decisions that they're making there, but what we can do is we have a role in weighing whether or not there should be a full liquor license here. And so that's, an element that does take away the crossover and makes them more similar to a supermarket than a restaurant.
And
If they came back to us
with
with
the area, this is
Go ahead,
also
Rob. Go ahead, Robin.
I just know how to raise my hand as a co-host. I was just gonna say, if they could put the groceries on the first floor and do a beer and wine downstairs, I'm in. Otherwise, I'm in deny. End of story. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I was going to say, not only have I already registered, I'm going to deny it, but also let's keep in mind the space has never been licensed before.
Okay. Kristen, Anthony, anybody have any other comments? Tom? Are we all in agreement to deny this one if need be?
For a full OP, yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. If it were a beer and wine, I'd be a lot more amenable to that. So yeah, that would change my mind. But as a full liquor license, I don't really see the point.
Okay. All right. And Tom and I guess Tom and Katie, you guys, Katie already spoke, but
We're good.
You guys
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
So Bob, just to be clear, what are people's positions on a beer and wine license?
I think it's unanimous for beer and wine and unanimous against OP. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Anybody?
I want the groceries upstairs.
I like the groceries upstairs too, but I could.
I don't think they should get liquor unless they're it's an actual grocery store.
Hold on, Mar, you want to have competition. You want that place. Look, it's so much better having that grocery store. So you got to go along with the beer and wine.
Yeah, but I want it to be a grocery store, and it's not a grocery store right now.
Yeah.
I would love to negotiate the grocery store on the top floor, but I wouldn't be against beer and wine if they made it. They sweeten the pot somehow.
Okay. So
but anyway, in this case, it's a no.
Okay, I think we got it. If anybody else wants to say anything, speak up or forever hold your whatever, Okay. So
And
in terms
still
of
needed to vote on that other item before everybody goes.
Which one?
We did not vote yet on the Dahan hospitality.
Yeah, we did. I thought.
No, we discussed it, but we didn't vote on it.
Oh, I thought we did.
No, deny unless 11-0.
Deny unless.
Yes, we're good.
I got it
down.
11-0. I got it down 11-0.
I just want to.
Go ahead.
I want to point out that I am in Arturo's.
I know. I noticed that, Robin. I'm so jealous.
I'm on my Zoom.
What, you're in where? Where?
I'm in Arturo's and I'm having wine.
I love it.
Oh my God.
That's illegal.
Do it 360, Robin. Anybody else there?
Get the invitation, but I haven't learned how to make it yet.
Table
Wait,
for
say
one.
that again?
Table for one.
Information, and all you would do is double.
All right. So Robin is very good at getting backgrounds for Zoom. Is that the deal?
Oh. I was tricked.
Where'd you get that one, Robin? That's a good one.
Just from the internet.
Okay. Yeah, and I love Anthony Wong's picture. That I want to figure out how you did. Like I have one of those too, and I want to be able to do it like you do. So someone's got to teach me how to do that. But, all right, so I think we're good. So I just before we end tonight, if people want to help out with resolutions, that would be great. Let me know what you're willing to do. You can send me an email. I certainly will need help with this grocery store resolution. And also, if there's any topics that people want to bring up about how the meetings are being conducted, things like that, where advice or, I think tonight went a lot smoother than the first night. I'm learning kind of how to do it. I need a script before I start the meeting to explain, I need a script because clearly I still don't know how to do what Carter's doing, which is bringing people forward. So, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think it went quicker tonight. It was more efficient tonight. But, I'll open up the discussion for anybody that wants to make any comments whatsoever.
I just want to be clear about one thing, and whoever, I don't have to speak right away.
No, go ahead, Katie.
Oh, thanks. So we're denying the grocery store 11-0 with comments, Bob?
Yeah, with a recommendation for beer and wine.
Okay, thank you.
Did we have any movement on the updating of the application?
What do you mean?
Weren't we working on streamlining the application process for our new normal?
You know me. Oh well. What I did was for May 18th. There's a new format where we can put all the applications in a software, and then a link is sent to people, and you just go to the link and you have access to all the applications in one location. So there's not 100 emails. That's the goal right now. And we're going to experiment with that for the May 18th meeting. I'm not sure I'm going to experiment with you guys. I might experiment with Donna, and I might experiment just to see how it goes for the first meeting in May, or the second meeting in May. And then we're still kind of, there might be some issues that have to be resolved. But ultimately I will kick it over to you guys. Josh has already come up with the software program, and I've been kind of vetting it over with Carter and Donna as to whether or not we can actually do this, because the concern is that the link, we could then pass the link on to somebody else, and there's privacy concerns with regard to the applications. And so what goes on the link, because what we see is more than what we publish on our website. And so we got to kind of deal with that one issue, and there might be others, but that's the goal right now, to have one location for all the applications. And so you can go right to that, and you don't have to mirror through all the emails that Florence sends. And sometimes she sends them over and over again. It's very confusing. And then the Dropbox and all that other stuff can be difficult to access when you're online and you're trying to conduct a meeting or you're asking questions at the meeting. The goal would be to have a way where you can access everything at one location. So that's been done. And then we have to work on the questionnaire so that we don't make any, we don't miss any things about pitchers of beer like we did, 2 weeks ago. We had this meeting, we had the last one within 2 weeks, so we haven't had a chance to kind of, but I don't think that should be that hard on the questionnaire. So those are the things that we're working on right now.
Valerie, did your hand go up? Did you want
Yeah, I had a question about the consolidation. You were talking about the reduction of all the emails that your committee gets from Florence for the different applications. Is that something that's going to be rolled out to other committees as well?
Is it emergency? Is it an emergency?
Hold on, someone's got to put the mute on. There's something going on. Go ahead, Valerie.
That was just a question. If I know this is wider than just this committee, but I was just wondering if that's something that's going to be rolled out to other committees specific to the consolidation of links in one place.
I was just going to say it is to some extent, but the issue that we have is that we have so many different pieces of information that we request that now is the time that we can actually make this demand on applicants, because they are also having to shift the way that they're doing things. And so, for example, we have some very efficient people who represent others before us, who are very technologically savvy. We have people who've been practicing as solo practitioners for decades, who don't have the technical expertise to put together all these materials into one PDF so it's easy for us to view. So they're sending us, 20 different attachments, And so this seems to be a moment where we can actually change that conversation a little bit, is it seems that most people are now on the same page, but it's, we don't want to create a situation where it's not fair to somebody that they have to go out and purchase additional software. But at this point, I don't think that we need to worry about that too much anymore.
Tech equity, yeah.
Because they're all having to do this as well to make their submissions. They can now submit things to us electronically that we can provide, an electronic confirmation. They don't have to send us things certified mail anymore. That's sufficient for the liquor authority at this moment. Apparently they can submit things electronically notarized as well now. So we're really making some changes to that. And then the software that Bob is referencing is the Beta NYC software that we've had, that we've subscribed to with Beta NYC along with a lot of other community boards, which has the ability to use Airtable and have a lot more information that's based in it. And as far as what Bob was referencing before, we need to be careful because we're really reliant on you as board members that even if this stuff is password protected, that you can't share the link, because these documents, sometimes when they're submitted to us, include extensive personal information. If it's not redacted by the applicants, they may not redact it for whatever reason. And so we don't want to even remotely be in a position to have that information go out improperly. As far as that's concerned. And at this point, it also takes a significant amount of time to redact that information for the office staff as they're going through. And so, for example, we don't put on the website the SLA questionnaire, any of the background information, any of that other stuff. And so it's sort of finding a balancing point with that. It's going to take a little bit of time, but even just as Max, had said, even us putting our questionnaires online is a big step forward, because the public's able to view and have this information prior to our meeting so they can ask better questions.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and the idea with Airtable is not just for the questionnaires and not just for, the materials that are submitted by the applicant, but if there's a formal resolution or stipulations for a particular location, we'd like to be able to throw that in as well so that people can access that. And sometimes those things are not accessed until an hour before the meeting, and it'd be nice to be able to do that. And so we're trying to figure all those things out so people can, during the meeting or before the meeting, they can see all the information and then, check right before the meeting because things will be added. That's the goal right now, so that, because it's not easy to follow all the applications and all the emails, and people get mixed up, and so that's the goal. All right. Anybody else want to say anything before we turn off?
William or Eugene, do you guys have any comments or thoughts? You've been sitting quietly.
No, I just appreciate you guys letting me sit in. I certainly have a lot to learn, and it's just good to see how the process works. And I'm sure it'll take a few times tuned in to get a hang of some of the various processes. But yeah, thanks a lot for letting me join.
Yeah, no, I appreciated it too. It was good to see. I kind of like to see. It looked like there was definitely like the I don't know if they're processors or just the same lawyers that do the paperwork for a lot of the applications. But I mean, it looks like there's definitely like different levels of like sophistication in the application. So it's kind of interesting to see that.
All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Okay.
And William, thanks for coming, joining us as well. And Tom, it's good to see you. You look good. You look like you're doing well.
I had a little bit of a problem. I didn't know how to get into to ask a question.
Ah.
Oh.
You got to raise your hand. So do you know where that is on the computer screen where you do that?
Well, I'll have to try and look for that in the next few days.
No. Try it now.
Well,
Sorry.
It switched to Dr. Shirley Smith.
So Tom,
on the
top-
bottom, Tom, do you see participants?
Tom, all you have
On
to
the
do is go
bottom,
to
do you see
participants, and it will show you all the people in the meeting. And at the bottom, there's something called invite, mute me, and raise your hand. And you just press on raise your hand.
Do you see participants?
I see them, yes. It says find a panelist.
Go to
I know,
participants.
look down under that,
Yeah,
under
I
the list of
see,
names.
I see them.
And at the bottom of the list of names, it says invite and raise hand. Do you see that? At the bottom of
No,
the list of names.
I don't see that.
You see, what
Did you
names
open
do
up
you see?
participants first?
Here, Tom, I'll send it to you.
The participants show that there are 19 participants.
Right.
And
And
that-
then at the bottom of that, you should see those three things we just mentioned.
At the bottom of that, it says mute me.
So
Yeah.
Tom, click
Yes.
where it says participants, actually click on it.
Yeah, we told him that.
Click on
I'm
the-
sending you an email.
All right, thank you.
No, but Tom, you're there. You're there. It
You're
says
there already because you say you saw it. Yeah.
So,
I found it very,
Bob, are you just going to adjourn the meeting and we can stay on with Tom and we can work on this?
I sent you a picture of it.
I'm still getting
Okay.
used to doing this. So
That's good.
it'll
Yeah.
take
Good for us.
me a while.
You'll get the hang of it. It's good to see you, Tom.
It's nice to see you, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys.
Bob,
Good night, everybody.
Adios.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
I'll
send
you an email too.
good night.
Good night,
Good
everyone. You're
night.
gonna stay on, and did she leave? She left?
Hold on,
I'm
I'll
still
stay
on.
on. Here, what do you
I
need?
thought Robin was gonna stay on, and we were gonna play around with
Yeah.
composting.
Do you want to text her, Donna, and just
No. Good night, you
you
guys.
can use the same link to come back.
My wife is screaming at me for dinner.
Do you need?
Okay.
Okay,
Have
so-
fun with dinner,
Okay.
Bob.
See you guys.
Okay. Okay.
Do you need people?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we're just going to see if.
I don't know. And I'm not sure. Do you?
What does she want to play around with, Donna?
Oh, just using the functions.
Oh, I see. Well, I gotta.
I've also-
Bob wants us. Ma, are you going to do the grocery store? Are you going to bite it? No.
Should I? Burn it? No.
All right, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'll do it. I can do it. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll email Bob and I'll do I'll do a couple of those corporate changes maybe. Because they look pretty. One is doing just one is a little wimpy.
Are you saying I should do more than one?
No, the grocery is worth 10. For sure.
Nobody was anybody managing the Q&A tonight?
There's
I
someone
was
is in there.
glancing
There's
at
a
it, but
Q&A.
it's.
There was
You know, the Q&A is we really, you know, I think we should be disabling it for the attendees, but it's the way for them to communicate with us, but I don't think they should be commenting on things. Because during a real meeting, we wouldn't allow that either. You know, that people can comment outside of things. We had this issue at our full board meeting, you know, where we just moved to just disable the chat because it's just not appropriate to reach board members.
But Carter, do you think that people use a Q&A differently than a chat?
Oh yeah, the Q&A, yeah. I had meant to disable that, and I will disable that going forward. Just stick with one place.
The Q&A is really good in large groups where you make it democratic that you'll only answer the questions with the most votes. But the host has really got to be clear to the attendees, like on should they go in chat, should they go in Q&A, so it's good to be real clear.
So that may have been something that would have been good for the traffic and transportation where we had 150 people on it instead of the chat that had all this
That's right.
dialogue going back and forth.
Right. And the panelists can't ask questions because this is supposed to be a webinar function where somebody that we would be the panelists and somebody would ask us questions, but instead we are including ourselves as the same as the presenter, so we can't ask questions.
We may want to remind people, because I think Susan and I went back and forth a little bit on one of the last things that we are not supposed to be chatting when we're doing this? You know?
I mean, I just don't think that it's, you know, we wouldn't, if the public can't see it, that's not
Right.
how we should be doing
Right,
that during
exactly.
a public meeting. And it's
Exactly.
just why the public shouldn't be able to, you know, reach out to one specific person on the board or whatever through this chat functions. It's really, for a public meeting, it's not, you know, we have to be careful in how we include that
Right.
to our meetings. But it is helpful for, hey, I'm here. The two of us are on this, or, you know, that type of communication, because the attendees can't speak to us.
However, if like, for instance, Patricia's question about ADA, right? She didn't want to call out, lots of people, other people were speaking, but then, was it you, Donna? That
I saw it on the chat, yeah.
Saw it on the chat and then made it a public inquiry. Like stuff like that. I noticed in our last Schools in Ed, we did the Q&A and we did the chat just for panelists, right? So stuff that came through the chat just for the panelists that maybe somebody couldn't, you know, get in because they weren't talking, we were glancing and we were able to address those things.
Sure.
Right? And then for the Q&A, it was very easy to dismiss things that were off topic, which happens, and to be able to answer live these questions in a public way.
Yeah, I mean, the questions typically are more, if I think, and, you know, if the board members typed out their questions, it would make the meeting go a lot faster.
Yeah.
And, you know, so the options that we have, that attendees can't chat with anybody, attendees can chat with panelists, or they can chat with all panelists and attendees. But the panelists can chat with everybody, but you can't have a public meeting where the public can't see a portion of the meeting.
Yeah.
And that's the quandary that I think this raises. And you know, and it's also, I mean, the traffic and transportation meeting, the chat section became a free-for-all, people going after each other.
I mean,
you know,
yeah, when Rita was trying to go through to see, she couldn't see through all the dialogue that went back and forth through the 100 people all during that whole meeting. So it didn't work for like tonight. It worked well because there was hardly anybody here, and it was easy to just read the chat and see that Patricia had asked something. But if it was anything like traffic and transportation, there's no way that would be found in that.
And I mean, there were between 300 and 400 chats, I think, during the traffic and transportation meeting. So, and that wasn't, but it's you're right. Janine and I talked extensively before the CEC meeting on Friday, you know, about how to do that. And then before the education meeting. And, you know, it depends on the committee, and it depends on if the committee can, you know, people could put in the questions, and then if they're all read out by Bob, that's certainly an appropriate way to do it.
Yeah.
But using it to communicate or do something during the meeting is not appropriate. And so sort of the fine line as we move forward in figuring that out. And, you know, I'm kind of curious, actually, as the state, you know, air quotes, reopens, if Governor Cuomo is going to modify the executive order with respect to being able to meet online and by telephone and stuff, because we're reliant on that order. And, you know, we may think that we'd like to see this in the long term, but that, you know, could easily end in, you know, a stroke of a pen, so to speak.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Oh, good night, Katie.
Good night. Yeah, take care.
Well, what do we do if we're meant to meet?
Well, I mean, well, I'm just saying it's not just us. I mean, his suspension of that affects every.
Right.
the New York City Charter is based on the Public Officers Law, and that's the requirement of how, because right now the governor's order does not say we need to include the public. The governor's order, if I believe, says that we can meet telephonically provided that a recording is made and a transcript is made available. Oh, no, excuse me. It doesn't even say a recording. That we can meet telephonically provided it is an open call or it can be live streamed so that any member of the public can access it live, number one. And then number two, we're required to provide a transcript. And the transcript is not, from my understanding from when we spoke with the open meetings people from New York State, did not include a recording. It's actually a physical transcript. And we, like Zoom does do a physical transcript, but it does not, it's not that accurate. So,
Okay,
you know,
I have a few of them.
yeah, when you say people's names,